Chapter 884. Don't you want me to eat sh*t? Just say it out loud. Now even if there is a pile of sh*t, I Yang Hao Yen will eat it. For the sake of the red packet I will go all out. However, this worm was truly uglier than sh*t. He might as well cover his eyes. What the eye doesn't see, the heart doesn't grieve. The people standing in the void were dumbfounded. This guy really ate it. Oh my god. This is true love. Lai Gu mumbled. It is indeed true love, Brett said blankly. He would rather die than eat it. Kaiyun was also astonished. I didn't expect this. Even Yi Zizi has someone who likes me. Why isn't there anyone who likes me? Seeing that the flag master was depressed, Yu Hua quickly comforted him. That's because it hasn't appeared yet. Yu Hua, you don't have to comfort me. I'm suddenly envious of Yi Zizi. Kaiyun pouted and said. Look at that fella. He was gobbling them down in huge mouthfuls as though he was eating roasted meat. Even that green liquid was gushing out crazily. How was he supposed to eat all those eyes? Yi Hong said in shock, My god, he is still chewing. LV Liang immediately covered his own eyes. At the same time, he also covered the eyes of his vampire wife. Those exploding spiders and scorpions weren't that terrifying. After a while, Yang Hao Yen wiped his mouth and exclaimed, Awesome! Are there any more? Wei Chang, are you King addicted to it? Yang Hao Yen was indeed addicted to it. This man did not lie to him. It was indeed a great tonic. Originally he was already mentally and physically exhausted. But when he took a bite, he instantly felt a clear current wandering in his body. He even felt that his cultivation had improved a lot. This is simply too magical, too delicious, please give me a dozen. I can King eat it? No more. Ah, that's all. Yang Hao Yen was a little disappointed. Wei Chang was a little dumbfounded. After all, this was the first time he saw someone eat this thing and eat it with such relish. It was simply a weirdo. Turn right up ahead. The first palace is there, Wei Chang said indifferently. He then turned around and disappeared. Yang Hao Yen pursed his lips. What a stingy man. After saying that, he even licked the green liquid on his finger. So fragrant, everyone who was standing in the void was about to vomit. This was a young man with a heavy taste. Why didn't he just go and die? At this time, Wei Chang appeared at the side and said with a smile, Let's go call Yi Zizi. Let's go. Kaiyun immediately disappeared. In Yi Zizi's room, Yi Zizi was combing her hair and humming a tune. She was in a good mood. After all, they could go out tomorrow. It's already so late and it's still so noisy outside. Seriously, Yi Zizi didn't care about the commotion outside because she knew that anyone who came to Voidless Empire's palace would basically be dead, and it was even more impossible for them to come to her place. Zizi. Kaiyun suddenly appeared at his side. Didn't we make an appointment tomorrow morning? Seeing that Kaiyun had appeared, Yi Zizi did not panic. Instead, she asked with a puzzled tone. After that, she raised her twin ponytails, looking extremely cute. Kaiyun blinked his big eyes. I couldn't fall asleep, so I came to chat with you. Oh, what are you talking about? Yi Zizi asked curiously. Zizi, what would you do if someone suddenly confessed to you? Kaiyun asked curiously. Confession? That's right, that's right. Kaiyun nodded his head. Yi Zizi curled her beautiful hair and said with a smile, Kill? Ah, that's a man who loves you a lot. Kaiyun said in surprise. Yi Zizi spread out her hands and said with a smile, It's not like I need a man. Besides, other than his honor, all men in this world are trash. Damn Zizi, you like his honor? No, this is worship, I am his honor's little fan, Yi Zizi grinned. His honor is just like my big brother. Suddenly Yi Zizi wrinkled her brows. She sensed that someone was outside. You all let that person in? Yi Zizi asked confusedly. Kaiyun teased. A man who loves you crazily ran into the palace without a care for his life. Yi Zizi, I'm going to tell his honor about this. You all wanted to see me make a fool out of myself and even let that person in. Don't, that person went through all sorts of difficulties just to see you. Aren't you curious about what kind of man would be willing to give up his life for you? Following Kaiyun's words, Yi Zizi became a bit curious. I can take a look. After seeing that person, I'll kill him and become everyone's target of ridicule. That person simply doesn't want to live anymore. Yi Zizi stood up and Kaiyun followed behind Yi Zizi. Just like that, the two pushed open the door and walked out. At this moment, Yang Hao Yen had already walked into the bedroom. After looking around, he suddenly saw that the door of the bedroom had opened. The twin-tailed little girl that I have been thinking about day and night has appeared. This is indeed her. And that red packet on her butt. It's sparkling, just waiting for me to touch it. After that, my red packet system will be able to function normally. Oh my god, what a great moment this is. The heavens must protect me. Yizizi squinted her eyes and looked at the excited Yang Haotian. This man is so lame, he is simply even more lame than the Green and Red brothers back then. His afro is messy, his face is pitch black, the clothes that he is wearing are tattered, and there is even a mysterious green liquid at the corner of his mouth. He is simply sloppy to the extreme. I am actually liked by this kind of person. This is simply a humiliation. At this moment, Wei Chang suddenly appeared once again, and the others were standing in the air and looking at Wei Chang. Yizizi naturally knew that these people are watching me make a fool of myself. This is too shameless. Tomorrow I must definitely tell His Honor that the reason why you all let these people in is to watch me make a fool of myself. The corner of Wei Chang's mouth slightly rose as he said with a light smile, Zizi, this little brother came here for you. Yizizi snorted, and as her body turned, the red packet on her but caused Yang Haotian to go crazy. I really want to go up and touch it. What are you looking at? Be careful that I dig out your eyes. Yizizi felt Yang Haotian's gaze and snorted coldly. Yang Haotian immediately retracted his gaze. Don't misunderstand, I am not looking at your butt, I am looking at the red packet. Furthermore, your butt is not perky at all, it doesn't look interesting at all. Furthermore, you look like a little lowly, you are not my type at all, Yang Haotian like mature women. After hearing that, Wei Chang laughed. Zizi, don't be so angry, the reason why the other party is in such a sorry state is because he fought a lot of fights, isn't that right? Yes, that's right, I wasn't originally like this. Yang Haotian felt that this father-in-law of his was truly a good person. Chapter 885. Yang Haotian immediately took out a water bottle and wiped his face. He did wash quite a bit, but his hairstyle and clothes were indeed unbearable to look at. Yizizi stood at the door without saying a word. She wished she could suck this man to death. Alright, I've already seen her. If you have any feelings for her, just say it. Wei Chang had a look of, I'm in charge. Just say whatever you want. Yang Haotian was in a dilemma. Could it be that he didn't love her anymore? Wouldn't this father-in-law kill him? But how can I say it out right now? This is simply like a child. Could it be that I, Yang Haotian, have to say such mushy words? You could go to jail. Yizizi crossed her arms in front of her chest. She really wanted to see what this man was going to say. After listening to him, she immediately killed him. Yang Haotian began to ponder in his mind what kind of nonsense to use. Yang Haotian suddenly raised his hair and put his hands behind his back, as if he had become a Casanova. This series of actions carried a wave of flirtatious air. Although I don't know what your name is, your figure has landed in my heart. The person standing in the void was no longer calm. This kind of person should be dragged up to be beheaded. Lai Gu snorted coldly. That's right, he actually likes minors at least 3 years old and less than 5 years old. Tang Wei said tenderly. You even said those words to an underage girl, you are too disgusting. Zi Shan said with a look of disdain. At this moment, Yizizi had goosebumps all over her body. She could not help but want to kill this man. This man was purely here to disgust her. Letting others see her as a joke? How hateful. Yang Haotian took a deep breath and looked at Yizizi affectionately, saying, The mountain has trees and the wood has branches. My heart pleases you, but you don't know. Everyone, Yizizi froze and shouted, I don't understand. Speak human language. Yang Haotian choked for a moment, then adjusted his attitude. Me. I like you. Yizizi and Kai Yun were both stunned. Wei Chang didn't expect this guy to be so good. Everyone standing in the air was shocked. These words of love were so unsophisticated, but it seemed to be very effective. Even Yizizi was stunned. However, this was not the end. Yang Haotian rolled up his sleeve and saw that there were words carved on his arm. It was still bleeding. Although I don't know what your name is, I have given myself a name, Schwanger. Everyone was thunderstruck once again. *CK, he even gave her an English name and Schwanger? *CK. Good dick, disgusting. There's a blood stain on your arm. Did you just King carve it? Yizizi's entire body was trembling. This was not because she was moved but because she was angry. Tonight would be a stain on his record. Kai Yun, who was standing at the side, had a love-struck look on his face. Wow, what a deeply affectionate man. He's even carved you into his arm. Yizizi couldn't take it anymore and slapped the air. Shameless. There was a clap. Yang Haotian was sent flying and stuck on the wall, unable to be pulled out. After a long time, Yang Haotian finally pulled himself out, cursing in his heart, this little girl is really fierce. Looks like I have to use my ultimate move. Yang Haoyin wiped the blood from his nose and shouted, "You're right. I'm shameless." Everyone was very curious about what Yang Haoyin was going to say. Blood Demon was still filming and it was another documentary. Ever since I saw you on the street that day, everything I did was to get close to you. Even if I know I'm going to die tonight, I still want to see you. Even if I die, it's enough for me. After saying that, Yang Haoyin looked at the sky at a 45 degrees angle again, as if this was the only way he could stop his tears from flowing. Suddenly, a song rang out in the sky. "Sweet, you smile sweetly." Who was the one who played this background music? Yizizi felt like she was going to explode. However, Yang Haoyin seized the opportunity and said again, "Hit me, wake me up from this illusory dream." Yizizi exploded. She must hammer this man into dust. Seeing that Yizizi was about to explode, Yang Haoyin hurriedly said, "No, no, no, no. Don't wake me up." When everyone heard this, they were stunned for a moment before bursting into laughter. F***CK. This is King Genius. Even Wei Chang was dumbfounded. Yizizi's fist had already appeared in between Yang Haoyin's eyebrows. Yang Haoyin was so scared that he immediately changed his words. "Don't wake me up, just let me sleep in this dream full of love. Even if you beat me to death today, at least my body has been touched by you, and you have become my life, everyone." This kind of genius was too rare. Looking at Yizizi's expression, there was a hint of craziness in it. Yang Haoyin looked at Yizizi as if asking, "Are you still not touched?" If such words of love were said, girls would usually throw themselves into his arms and beg for his love. Yizizi's chest heaved up and down and she said coldly, "Continue." "Sweet, you smile sweetly." Yizizi wanted to chop the person who played the background music. Yang Haoyin blinked his eyes and seemed to be very confused, not knowing whether it was right or wrong. "I came here to see you again. I want to use my life to tell you that I loved you." Yizizi's expression became especially abnormal. Yang Haoyin was so scared that he hurriedly changed his words. "Just let us stay here quietly like this and enjoy this moment of beauty. Look how round the moon is today." Everyone looked towards the night sky. Everything was pitch black. "None of us move. Whoever moves will be considered to have lost." Everyone felt that this fellow was not bad. Seeing that Yizizi was about to kill someone, he actually said such words. However, the truth was not like this. "I lost, I moved first, my heart was moved." F***K. The subordinates felt that they had learned a new trick. This fellow is simply an expert at picking up girls. Or could it be that his desire to live is too strong? Be together. Be together. Be together. It was unknown who was the one who took the lead, but everyone actually started cheering. Look, even Kaiyin started cheering. Yizizi looked towards Yang Haoyin coldly, and her fist emitted out a terrifying aura. This caused Yang Haoyin to swallow his saliva. "Wait. I still have something that I want to say." "Say it." Yizizi felt that she had never been so angry before. "This is a man who angered me." "Schwanger, speak human language." Yang Haoyin was a bit absent-minded, then said in a low voice, "I have too many things that I want to say. In actuality, I left something on you." "Your heart?" Yizizi asked back coldly. "You even know about this. Seems like our hearts are linked." Scram. Chapter 886. "Where?" Yizizi asked in a deep voice. It's on your butt." Yang Haoyin said weakly. "You just need to touch my butt for a bit." Yizizi was speechless. Kai Yun, Wei Chang, everyone. Yizizi finally couldn't take it anymore and sent Yang Haoyin flying with a punch. Yang Haoyin turned into a shooting star in the dark night. "Schwanger, I'll be back." A voice echoed in the dark night. Yizizi raised her head and looked at the crowd. Who the hell put that sweet honey there? The background music suddenly stopped and everyone looked left and right. "Get out of my sight." Yizi flew into a rage. She turned around, walked into the house and slammed the door shut. Kaiyun cupped his chin. "Wow, I'm so blessed. Too bad it's not me." Wei Chang sighed. "What a good man." Looking at the bloody blade on the ground, it was indeed carved just now. The farce ended just like that, but the imperial palace, I reckon that Yihua will definitely fly into a rage when he wakes up in the morning. On Yihua's bed, 3 lovely wives were surrounding him. Suddenly, Qing Yutong opened her eyes. "It is about time." Qing Yutong could be seen sneakily getting down from the bed, then taking her own clothes, she walked out just like a thief. Yihua, who was in a deep sleep, opened his eyes, and a light smile could be seen on the corner of his mouth. "This Yutong, I shall just go out and play with her, lest she gets bored in the imperial palace." Qing Yutong thought that she would be able to deceive Yi Hua. After putting on her clothes, Qing Yutong pushed open the door, and Daji was standing outside. "Madam." Qing Yutong said in a low voice. "Daji, be quiet. I'm going out." Daji was confused for a moment and nodded. Qing Yutong stretched out her hand and pinched Daji's face. "Wait for me to come back, let's have a good chat." A bright red immediately appeared on Daji's beautiful face. Qing Yutong, this old hooligan. However, when Qing Yutong turned her head and looked towards the imperial palace, the corner of her mouth twitched. Did a big battle happen? If brother-in-law saw this, his back would go numb. "Hurry up and leave, otherwise brother-in-law will take it out on me." Qing Yutong immediately rushed to the appointed location. Yi Zizi, Brett, Kai Yun, and Yu Hua had already arrived. Qing Yutong arrived late. "Your wife." The four of them still had to address her respectfully. "Don't call me your wife, we are already friends outside." Qing Yutong was rather carefree. Suddenly, Qing Yutong discovered that Yi Zizi's complexion didn't seem to be very good. "Zizi, what happened to you?" Qing Yutong pinched onto Yi Zizi's cheek. Other than Yi Hua, the only other person who would dare to pinch Yi Zizi's cheeks would be Qing Yutong. Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi were very familiar with each other, and they were even more familiar with each other than Qingya and Donghuang Baiji. After all, Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi had slept together for 5 years, played games together, and messed around together. Kai Yun said with an envious expression, "You don't know, but last night, there was a man who ran into the imperial palace without a care for his life to confess to Zizi." "There's such a thing? Why didn't you call me over to watch the show?" Following what Qing Yutong said, Yi Zizi kicked Qing Yutong petulantly. "You are too disgusting, I didn't sleep well last night." Yu Hua chuckled. "How is it disgusting? He's just expressing his deep feelings, okay? My God, the imperial palace has become like that, could it be that?" Qing Yutong cried out in surprise. Brett nodded his head. "Let's hurry up and leave, if brother-in-law gets angry, none of us will be able to escape," Qing Yutong hurriedly said. Everyone felt that what Qing Yutong said was reasonable. The imperial palace has already become like that, his honor will definitely get angry. Let's just let other people take the blame for this. The troublemaking team immediately ran out of Wuxia Empire. As for where to go, they decided to go to the south to play. Because there was his honor in the north, there was no need for them to cause trouble in the north. The night dispersed and dawn arrived. Wuxia Empire welcomed a new day, and residents began to emerge on the streets. All of them were filled with happiness. If a public opinion poll were to be done, the happiness index of the people living in Wuxia Empire would definitely be full, because there was no need to worry about safety at all. In Kangluo continent, safety was more important than anything else. On Yi Hua's bed. "Where's Yutong?" Following Qingya's cry of surprise, Yi Hua and Donghuang Baiji both woke up. Yi Hua naturally covered for his sister-in-law. "I don't know, she even pushed my butt yesterday night," Yi Hua said with a light smile. "This time, I don't know when Yutong will come back, it seems like there isn't a lot of happiness." Donghuang Baiji cried out in surprise. "Qingya, Yutong couldn't have left with Zizi and the others, right? This is bad." Qingya stood up and hurriedly wore her clothes. Yi Hua said faintly, "She left early in the morning, you won't be able to catch up to her now." Qingya looked towards Yi Hua confusedly. "You know that Yutong left? Then why didn't you stop her?" Qingya was also worried about her little sister's safety. Yi Hua pulled Qingya into his embrace and said lightly, "Yutong is already an adult, it would be good for her to go out and have a walk. Furthermore, with Yi Zizi and Brett around, what can possibly happen to her? You can be at ease." It's not like that, Yutong just likes to mess around." Yi Hua laughed. "If she messes around, so be it. Even if she pokes a hole in the sky, I will still be able to add to it." Donghuang Baiji felt jealous. I am jealous, then I will have to properly console the two empresses." Go, wake up." Qingya and Donghuang Baiji hurriedly got up, not giving Yi Hua a chance to wake up. Yi Hua was just joking around. Under the help of Qingya and Donghuang Baiji, he put on the emperor robe and walked out of the bedroom. Then Yi Hua became dumbfounded. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji, who were following behind Yi Hua, were puzzled. When they saw the palace in front of them, they became dumbfounded as well. Daji, who was at the side, slightly lowered her head. She could clearly feel that her master's anger was rising. "Who is it? Who is causing destruction in my palace?" Yi Hua questioned coldly. Daji said respectfully, "Master, a person barged in last night, and all of Master's subordinates are trying to stop him." "A person? He came to barge into my palace. And he even made it look like this. Meeting. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji felt dizzy. I just had a meeting yesterday and yet I have another meeting today. After a while Yihua sat on the throne, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji sat on the two sides, and Daji stood at the side to serve him. Below the throne Yihua's subordinates were all shivering. I heard that a person barged in last night. And you guys are still trying to stop him? Yihua questioned. A person? You guys are a group of people. And you guys even made it look like this. I'm afraid that you guys are going easy on me. Wei Chang took a step forward and said respectfully, Your Honor, there was indeed a person who barged in last night, but, before Wei Chang could finish speaking Yihua questioned gravely, Who is involved? Take a step forward. Chapter 887. All the subordinates took a step forward. Yihua immediately felt dizzy and shouted out angrily, Do you all have nothing better to do? Your Honor, please calm down, this matter is a bit complicated. Lai Gu cupped his hands and said, I was just scolded yesterday and today I am scolded again. Alright. In that case tell me how did it turn out to be? If you don't, I'll give you a discount. Right now Yihua couldn't help but think of the Azure Dragon Empire's emperor. When he woke up early in the morning he saw that his imperial palace had collapsed. Now he could finally understand the inner thoughts of that emperor. He could indeed be angered to death. Especially when he had a bunch of powerful subordinates who caused such an outcome, it was even more infuriating. Lai Gu could be seen taking a step forward once again and he actually took out his phone. Your Honor, this is the entire content of what happened last night. It was all caused by Yi Zizi and we were also doing a good deed. When Lai Gu opened the video, the background music started ringing out from the palace. Sweet, your smile is so sweet. However, Yihua couldn't help but laugh. But, not long later, Yihua's laughter rang out in the entire imperial palace. Even Qingya and Donghuang Baiji were covering their mouths and laughing lightly. This man is too talented. He had never seen someone who could spout nonsense like this. He was simply a genius. Who is this person? Yihua was unable to conceal the smile on his face. To think that such a thing would actually happen in the middle of the night. However, it must be said that this man's courage is indeed commendable. To actually dare to single-handedly run into my imperial palace and even profess his love in front of Yi Zizi, my God, who gave you the courage? Lai Gu turned off his phone and said respectfully, Your Honor, we also don't know who this man is, but it seems like this man wants to obtain something from Yi Zizi? Did you get a butt? Yihua laughed out loud. Yi Zizi's subordinates also started laughing. If Yi Zizi was here she would definitely dig 3 feet into the ground and bury herself. Qingya rolled her eyes at Yihua and said in a low voice, What, but seriously? This was the first time that the subordinates saw His Honor laughing out loud like that. Gradually Yihua stopped smiling and immediately put on a stern face. Donghuang Baiji had seen people change their expressions before, but the speed at which Yihua changed his expression was truly fast. How interesting. You didn't even inform me. You made me lose the chance to watch the show. Yihua's heart ached. If I was present at the scene yesterday, it would definitely be more interesting. Gossiping about one's subordinates was the duty of a leader. All the subordinates immediately shut up. Right now, silence spoke louder than words. Just like Do Fusher, he had suffered losses in the past, but now he would not stand out anymore. I don't care what you say, it's best for this kind of thing to happen on the other side. Otherwise, all of you will break up and get back together for me to see. Yihua. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Is there anyone who teases their subordinates like this? The subordinates felt dizzy, but those who didn't have girlfriends were fine, but those who had girlfriends all had bitter expressions. Today I finally learned one thing. If I don't tell His Honor about something good, the consequences will be very serious. His Honor will make you break up with me anytime. Breaking up was considered a light punishment. In the past, the inhumane Yihua would be directly killed. Alright, I, the Supreme Overlord, would like to see the Imperial Palace return to its original state by noon. Recently, the main focus of my work should be placed on the harmony between humans and outsiders. Mu Ran has already started making plans, and when the time comes I, the Supreme Overlord, will need actors to act as the main lead for the outsiders. Right now, Yihua was not going to let go of any interesting things. At that time, I will let Death Mage play the role of a bad person, and I will play the role of a good person, saving the humans in the abyss of suffering. This seems to be quite interesting. Subordinate obeys. Meeting dismissed. Yes. After giving out the important instructions, Yihua decided to eat a soup dumpling to calm himself down, then drink a bowl of kelp soup. Wow, this is simply too comfortable. Next, I will have to wait for Mu Ran's script. Seems like this year's Best Screenplay Award is going to be given to Mu Ran. Don't look at how small Mu Ran is, her brain is filled with a lot of things. Of course, there was also Yi Zizi and Yu Tong's script. The bigger the commotion that they create, the better. In the next few days, a rumor appeared in the entire northern part of Kangluo continent. That rumor was that Yuanyang Manor was destroyed. The main point was that Yuanyang Manor was destroyed by an empire. After this rumor spread out, a lot of people didn't believe it. The Manor Lord of Yuanyang Manor is a Dozun. How is it possible for him to be destroyed by an empire? Everyone felt that this rumor was just a joke, but the truth proved that Yuanyang Manor was indeed empty. Furthermore, there were even rumors that Yuanyang Manor Shi had fallen. When many things were added together, many people began to have doubts. However, they still didn't believe it. Because no matter how powerful an empire is, it is impossible for them to be a match for Yuanyang Manor and Viper Sect. Do you think that Do Zun and Do Di are vegetarians? All of them are ruthless characters, existences that are able to destroy an empire with a single finger. Although they didn't believe it, the words Wushu Empire had already been imprinted in everyone's heart. There were even a lot of people who planned to go to northern Liangland to take a look and see if this Wushu Empire is as formidable as the rumors say. Right now, the troublemaking team was facing a problem. Don't stop me. I want to kill this slut. He has completely lost all of his face. Yi Zizi could be seen struggling crazily. Kai Yun and Qing Yu Tong each grabbed onto one side of Yi Zizi, holding onto the furious Yi Zizi. Not far away from the five of them, Yang Haoyin was squatting on the ground with a pitiful look on his face. His eyes were staring at Yi Zizi's butt. That red packet is right in front of me, but I just can't get it. This kind of situation caused Yang Haoyin to even have the heart to want to die. Qing Yu Tong originally didn't know about it, but after hearing about it from Kai Yun, she immediately laughed at Yi Zizi for an entire day, causing Yi Zizi to feel terrible. This is a stain in my life. Who the fuck would place his heart on someone else's? But he is simply shameless. Zizi, he is deeply in love with you, just give him a chance. In the end, Qing Yu Tong still couldn't help but laugh loudly. It was the first time that I saw Yi Zizi acting like this. I was too happy. Kai Yun was the same as well. That's right, look at him, he has already followed us all the way here. Didn't he just want to see your asterisk? After Kai Yun finished speaking, the four women immediately laughed until they were rolling on the ground. Yang Haoyin immediately rolled up his sleeves and revealed his asterisk. This caused Yi Zizi to flip out once again. You stinking shameless person, I will definitely kill you today. Shuang'er, my heart has already fallen on your body. If you return it to me, I will leave. I'll return it to you, your asterisk. Yi Zizi couldn't help but curse. This man actually said touching my butt so openly. If you don't return it to me, I, Yang Haoyin, will follow you for the rest of my life, until my body turns into ashes and fuses with this world. Chapter 888. Upon hearing Yang Haoyin's words of love, Qing Yu Tong's scalp couldn't help but go numb. Even brother-in-law has never said such words before. This is too mushy. Alright. I will let you fuse with this world right now. Yi Zizi's twin ponytails immediately rushed toward Yang Haoyin. I must definitely suck this man to death. I reckon that his honor should already know about my matter right now, and he will definitely be laughing out loud. And those people, it was all because of this bastard. Seeing Yi Zizi's hair suddenly growing longer, Yang Haoyin was also scared witless, but he didn't leave. He even knelt on the ground with a thud. Even if you can kill me, you can't kill my soul. My soul will be immersed in this love, unable to extricate itself. Qing Yu Tong, Kai Yun, Brett, Yu Hua. However, Kai Yun's face was indeed filled with little stars. What touching words of love. If you said it to me, I would definitely agree. Yu Hua said gently, Banner Master, you can't trust a man's words. Then why did you believe in Ligu? Kai Yun didn't believe in Ligu and refuted. That's why I only found out about it now. So that's the case. Then Yu Hua, you should divorce Ligu and be together with me. Yu Hua, Qing Yu Tong hugged onto Yi Zizi. Forget it, don't get angry. How big of a matter is this? Isn't it just a man who is infatuated with you and you want to kill him? I don't want to play with you anymore. You only know how to laugh at me. Yi Zizi stomped her feet and sat down angrily. Brett slowly sat to the side and lightly said, Women in the end must have a home. Old woman, I am not a woman. Yi Zizi tenderly snorted and turned around. That's true. Women aren't as flat as you. Brett, what are you talking about? Do you want to fight? Yizizi immediately stood up and shouted at Brett. Brett chuckled. I'm not afraid of you. Qin Yutong hurriedly ran over to stop the fight. What's wrong with the two of you to actually want to fight just because you don't agree with each other? If brother-in-law were to see this, he would definitely scold the two of you. Humph. Yizizi and Brett didn't have a good relationship, and they often complained about each other. Yizizi called Brett an old woman, while Brett called Yizizi a flat-chested girl. The two of them had been quarreling for at least 1,000 years. At this moment, Kai Yun lowered his head and looked at Yu Hua's. He immediately fell silent. He comforted himself by telling himself that it was because he was not fully developed yet. However, after developing for more than 10,000 years, it still hasn't finished developing. You over there, come over for a moment. Qing Yutong shouted towards Yang Haoyin, who was not far away. Yang Haoyin, who was crazy about getting the red packet, immediately stood up and ran over. His eyes kept glancing at Yizizi's, but from time to time. The red packet on it was simply too tempting. In actuality, Qing Yutong already knew a little about it. This man also had a system, and it was a red packet system. According to the system's explanation, the man's red packet must have landed on Yizizi's butt, which was why such a thing happened. Qing Yutong became curious. Could it be that if I don't take this red packet, I won't be able to continue living? The system said that the red packet system was meant to take red packets. This was a main mission, and if one was not able to take the red packet, the main mission would stop. And sometimes, the red packet system was also very deceptive. Sometimes, the red packet system would land on powerful figures. Just like what happened to Yizizi, who directly landed on someone else's, but this completely increased the difficulty of the red packet system. With a cold face, Yizizi suddenly punched towards Yang Haoyin, and the latter did not even have the chance to react. However, a small hand grabbed onto Yizizi's small hand. Zizi, how can you be like this, wanting to kill people for no reason? Kai Yun held onto Yizizi's hand and said with a smile. Yizizi snorted. Count yourself lucky. For Kai Yun to be able to easily grab onto Yizizi's fist, it seems that his strength is very great. After all, Yizizi's fist is not to be trifled with. Yang Haoyin was really worried that he would be beaten to death before he could even get the red packet. You are called Yang Haoyin, right? Qing Yutong asked. And that's right. Where are you from? I am from the south. The south, other than Yizizi, the other four women felt that this man was somewhat useful. After all, they were not very familiar with the south. Alright, I'm not very familiar with the north either. What do you do? Speak honestly, if not, we are not going to save you. Qing Yutong said seriously. There are some things that cannot be joked about. If I don't feel that it is interesting, I will just let Yizizi kill me. Yang Haoyin pursed his lips and used this short period of time to think crazily in his mind. After thinking about it, Yang Haoyin felt that it would be better for him to speak the truth. If not, he would really not be able to get the red packet and his life would be left here. Actually, I am the emperor of an empire in the south. Yang Haoyin chose to speak the truth. Emperor? This caused the five women to be startled for a moment. Then why did you come to Wuxia Empire? Qing Yutong asked curiously. If you don't have a good reason, then I will just send you to heaven. I heard about Wuxia Empire and I just came over to take a look. Suddenly one day I saw. Yizizi suddenly turned her head around and said with a sinister look on her face, I dare you to say one more sentence, no one will be able to save you. I won't say any more, I won't say any more. After that, I lost my appetite, after that, you guys understand. Yang Haoyin said in a low voice, fearing that he would be punched to death by Yizizi. What Qing Yutong needed right now was the information about the south, and adding on that this person was the emperor, he should know a lot of things. Who is the most impressive person in the south? Qing Yutong asked curiously, seemingly intending to go and find those impressive people. If we are to talk about the most impressive existences in the south, then it should be Meridian Break Sect and Shin Academy. Qing Yutong had naturally heard of them before. Ali and the others were sent to these two sects to learn. Since I have already come to the south, I will go and see how they are doing. Other than these two, what else is there that is impressive? Qing Yutong asked again. If one wants to do something, one must choose a good person. Yang Haoyin was puzzled. Just what are these five women planning to do? Could it be that they are planning to challenge the sects? They are directly going to challenge the Meridian Break Sect and Shin Academy. There are overlords there. If one is not careful, one will die. Other than these two, the south is basically the same as the north. There are a lot of powers that are scattered all over the south. After listening to Yang Haoyin's words, Qin Yutong paused for a moment, then said, "You can leave first, we have matters to discuss." "Alright, if there is anything you need just call me." Yang Haoyin decided. "If I want to get a red packet I have to first take care of my sisters. If the heir sisters serve them well they would have a chance to get their own red packets." Chapter 889. Translation: The red packet on that little butt is simply too tempting, my future is on that little butt. After Yang Haoyin left, Qin Yutong said, "What do we do?" Among these 5 women, Qin Yutong's identity was right there. After all, she was your wife. Although Qin Yutong did not allow them to address her as their wife, they still had to respect her. Yi Zizi and Kai Yun basically would not consider this problem, they would just kill them once they caught them. The only ones that could be discussed were the other 3. Yu Hua said softly, "I think how about we talk about it after we get there first? Then what are we going to do? Directly rush into other people's sect and kill them?" Brett laughed lightly. "If that was really the case I can settle everything by myself with my bow." Qin Yutong shook her head. "This is too simple, there is not much fun in it. If we are going to play then let's play big." "How big?" Kai Yun asked curiously. Even Yi Zizi, who was angry, also looked towards Qin Yutong curiously. Let me think about it first." Qin Yutong also did not know how to play. Thinking back to when they were in Ying family, they just let nature take its course. Upon thinking back to when they were in Ying family, Qin Yutong's eyes lit up. "Zizi, do you still remember how we were kidnapped into Ying family?" A strange smile appeared on Yi Zizi's face, then she looked towards Brett, Yu Hua and the others. Being looked at by Yi Zizi like that, everyone felt uncomfortable. "Yang Haoyin, come over." Qin Yutong waved her hand. Yang Haoyin, who was squatting at the side and drawing circles, ran over eagerly. Where did he look like an emperor? He looked more like a little follower. "Boss, what's the matter?" Yang Haoyin even directly changed the way he addressed Yu Hua. "I heard that there is a water city at the intersection of the north and south?" Qin Yutong also unintentionally heard it in the city. Hearing the water city, Yang Haoyin paused for a moment then said, "Boss, we can directly go there from the sky, there is no need to go to the water city." "Are you very afraid of this water city?" Qin Yutong asked curiously. "Boss, this water city is an intermediary that separates the north and south. I heard that there are 3 great clans inside and they are extremely powerful. If the strongest on the continent are the Broken Meridian sect and the Deity Academy, then the 3 great clans in Water City are the same. Their clan leaders are all supreme beings. There is no need for us to go there." Yang Haoyin really didn't want to go to that damn place. He could just fly over the water. No one would care. Even if he went by boat no one would care. But if you force your way into Water City you're done for. Qin Yutong suddenly revealed out a smile. "Let's go to Water City." "Yang Haoyin, I'm not going to risk my life with you. Even if I drown in the water and don't want the red packet, I won't risk my life with you. Just give up." One day later, a luxurious ship sailed on the vast sea. This sea was called the Sea of Innocence, and at the bottom was Water City. Although it was smaller than the north and south, it was actually quite large. After all, the Kangluo continent was just too big. However, on the luxurious ship, Yang Haoyin finally changed his clothes. He was dressed like a playboy, and with the plum blossom fan in his hand he looked like a playboy. His hair was messy and his expression was frivolous. What? Frivolous expression? I'm F***king pretending, I'm risking my life with them. You actually want me to play the role of a playboy? Fuck. Why don't you let me touch your butt? At this moment, on the deck, 5 beautiful women were so scared that their faces paled. These 5 women had actually dressed themselves up meticulously. Their appearances were practically on another level. Look at Qin Yutong. TSK. She's simply too frightening. Also there's Brett. He's so sexy it feels so good. Also there's Yu Hua, this mature woman. She's made of water. Yi Zizi and Kai Yun belong to the cute Lolita type. They were the favorites of the foot-scratching uncles. They were just acting, that's all. Their expressions of fear were very convincing. As expected of a movie empress. Even though they hadn't acted in such a long time, they were still able to casually get into character. Beauties don't run. Let Big Brother touch you. What else could Yang Haoyin do? He could only cooperate. What the hell is this? This was the first time he'd seen someone do something so exciting in the Sea of Innocence. It really was too exciting. You despicable scum. You tricked us into the Sea of Innocence and now you want to molest us? Save us. Qin Yutong's acting skills had really improved. However, Brett wasn't very good. The others barely managed to act like women who were about to be taken advantage of. Yang Haoyin's acting skills were indeed not bad. In the sea of innocence, I'm the heavens. Even if you scream your lungs out, it's useless. Your screams will only make me happier. Scream. Let me listen. Qing Yutong was a bit stunned. Where did you learn this line? Why does it sound like your brother-in-law's? You actually changed your lines? You're really something. Don't even think about hearing our screams. We'd rather die than submit. Qing Yutong shouted. Yang Haoyin looked up and laughed. Rather die than submit? What a good line. In a bit, I'll let you experience what true happiness is. Shameless. Yu Hua shouted. Bah. Brett's response was much simpler. TSK. Yi Zizi snorted coldly. You want to take advantage of me? Just a single strand of my hair is enough to make you feel good. All right. Kai Yun immediately clapped his hands. Everyone was speechless. It seemed that Kai Yun's mating season had arrived. Yang Haoyin approached the 5 beauties with a strange smile on his face. Qingya and the others shouted together, Save us! Save us! Scream all you want. Make me excited. Although Yang Haoyin said this, he was actually getting closer to Yi Zizi. In any case, he was just putting on an act. Secretly touching her should be fine. Just when Yang Haoyin thought he was about to get his way, splash, splash, splash. The sound of 3 splashing rang out in everyone's ears. There were now 3 more people on the deck. The one in the lead was a man wearing dragon scale armor. His facial features were excellent, his skin was fair, and his gaze was deep. He was commonly referred to as a handsome guy. The 2 behind him were obviously his guards. Audacious madman. You're doing it in broad daylight. You're actually committing a lewd act in the sea of innocence. You deserve death. The man pulled out the sword at his waist and pointed it at Yang Haoyin. Yang Haoyin even had the urge to curse out. Can't you appear a bit later? Can't you see that I have already made my move? Meanwhile, the 5 beauties were dazed for a moment. This line really will never change, it's too vulgar. However, at the very least, it's a good start. Hero, save us. Qing Yutong shouted out. Following Qing Yutong's words, the man turned his head around and looked over. Then he became stupefied as if his body was frozen. Pai Pai's entire brain was buzzing. Such beautiful women. How can they be so beautiful? They are more than 10,000 times more beautiful than the women in Water City. These are the most beautiful women I have ever seen. My God, what if I don't get to see them in the future? Baidu search 881 Chinese website yen. Yen. Chapter 890. Omega 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 choking with sobs. Novel. Just as Pippi was in a daze, Yang Haoyin snatched the sword from his hand and placed it across Pippi's neck. Qing Yutong and the others were stupefied. Was there such a scene in the script? How dare you snatch someone else's sword? How do you want others to lose face? You're simply too careless. Impudent. The 2 guards standing behind Pai Pai shouted. F***ck off, I'm having fun. You bunch of blind fools, how dare you disturb my fun? Yang Haoyin was very angry. He was so close to getting the red packet. Then he wouldn't have to risk his life with them. It's all your fault, you bastard, for appearing just in time. Her skin was not messed up at all, but she was actually a little unhappy in her heart. She was shocked by their beauty just now, so this person took advantage of her weakness. He was simply losing face in front of a beauty. Put down the sword in your hand. Do you know who I am? Pai Pai shouted coldly. I don't F***king care who you are. Kneel down. Qing Yutong really wanted to give him a kick. Are you crazy or what? I just want to go in. Aren't you F***king adding to the show? You're just a cameo, the kind that gets a lunchbox. How dare you make me kneel? I am the son of Water City's house Pai Pai Pai. Following Pippi's words. The 5 delicate beauties were obviously a little surprised. Pippi? You're really mischievous. You're obviously here to save people, but your weapon was snatched away and you're even being held against your neck. Could someone else be the hero to save the damsel in distress? This guy couldn't be provoked. Yang Haoyin woke up a little. F***ck. What am I doing? Why did I steal his weapon and place it on his neck? That wasn't how the script was written. It was mainly because he was too angry just now. He almost got it. But now. He pointed his sword at the son of House Pai. He was done for. It was all this group of women's fault, asking him to risk his life for no reason. What should I do? I'm asking you what to do. Yang Haoyin stole a glance at Qing Yutong, and seemed to be asking, how should I act after writing it down? Qing Yutong was already speechless. What are you looking at me for? You added the scene yourself, settle it yourself. Yang Haoyan was nervous. He had offended the son of House Pai. The nervous Yang Haoyan's hands trembled a little. The sharp blade directly cut through the skin, causing blood to flow out. Yang Haoyan was stunned, and so was Leather. The 5 beauties were also stunned. Qing Yutong was already speechless. Just what are you trying to do this time? Yang Haoyan looked at Pippi, and Pippi looked back at Yang Haoyan. The 2 men looked at each other affectionately. Yes. Yang Haoyan prepared to apologize. However, before Yang Haoyan could finish, Pai Pai shouted angrily, "You have guts. House Pai won't forgive you." With that, he knelt down with a thud. Despair, deep despair. Yang Haoyan really wanted to cry. "Big brother, please get up. I will kneel for you. If you kneel for me, I will feel dizzy." Qing Yutong and the others were also feeling dizzy. "Why did you kneel just like that? Didn't you say that Water City is very powerful? Why is it so powerful?" The 2 guards yelled, "House Pai won't let you go." After saying that, he also knelt down. Yang Haoyan had never seen someone threaten people like this. He knelt right after saying that, not giving him any chance to explain at all. "You guys are too shameless trying to frame me." Yang Haoyan secretly looked at Qing Yutong. "What should I do?" Qing Yutong threw a glance at him. "You can do whatever you want. Hero. Why do you have to kneel for him? He is a pervert." Kai Yun asked in confusion. "Didn't he just threaten you a little?" Pippi looked at Kai Yun. Such a cute girl. But to lose face in front of such a cute girl, it was really a stain on life. This girl kneel. Not scary. Death is the scariest. Yang Haoyan, the 5 women were all stunned. "Fuck. You're the only one who can talk about kneeling in such a dignified manner. You actually can't find any rebuttal. As expected, you are very mischievous. Is everyone in House Pai so mischievous?" Pippi said seriously again, "My father taught me that as a man you must be able to kneel. One day you will be able to stand up." "Big brother, you seem to have misunderstood what your father said. He was only making an example, he did not really want you to kneel. My God, how can there be such a naive person? My mother also taught me when a sword is pressed against my throat, I must not try to struggle, I must know how to be observant and act according to the situation. Everyone, your acting according to the situation is to use your mother's words to trap your father's words. Kneel? Outstanding." Yang Haoyan felt that he was already outstanding enough, but when he saw this Pippi, he decided to give this outstanding to him. "Actually, this young Master Pippi, we seem to have some misunderstanding." Yang Haoyan felt that something was wrong, so he had to make it clear. Pippi snorted coldly, "We will not have any misunderstanding. How about we stand up first?" Yang Haoyan said earnestly. "Big brother, don't be like this." Pippi said in disdain, "If you want me to kneel, I will kneel. If you want me to stand, I will stand. Wouldn't I, Pippi, have no face?" "Big brother, you already have no face right now." Yang Haoyan wanted to cry in his heart, "This is truly too stubborn." "Hero, he asked you to stand up, hurry up and stand up." Qing Yutong hurriedly shouted out, "Bring out your heroic spirit." Pippi felt that his image was already gone, so he shook his head. "Today I am unable to save the ladies, it is I, Pippi, who is incompetent, I, Pippi, am willing to die as an apology. Don't say any more, I will return the sword to you if you continue to point at me." Yang Haoyan could not take it any more and immediately threw the sword onto the ground. However, Pippi sneered, "I, the son of Pai family, do not accept the kindness of the enemy. Everyone, do not accept. My God, why don't you accept it?" Brett felt that his view of the world had been refreshed. What a weirdo, mischievous to death. "Then can I kneel in front of you, I beg you to accept it, okay?" Yang Haoyan felt Yi Zizi's killing intent, and immediately kneeled towards Pippi. The 2 men kneeled towards each other. Why does it feel like they are going through the ceremony of marriage, the part where the husband and wife bow to each other? "Hero, hurry up and take out the sword, our lives are all in your hands." Yu Hua was anxious and shouted towards Pippi. She had never seen such an upright and plain-spoken person before. However, Pippi still did not take out the sword in his hand and even said proudly, "I, the son of Pai family, even if I have to kneel and die, I will not fall for the tricks of vile people. Miss, I am sorry." Yu Hua really wanted to take out the sword and cut open this Pippi's brain, just what is inside bubbles. However, Yang Haoyan said in surprise, "Big brother, what kind of scheme did I use?" Baidu search 881 Chinese website yen. No advertising words. Chapter 891. Omega choking with sobs. Novel, you smeared poison on the blade. Do you think I don't know? Pai Pai had a look of "I knew it all along" on his face. Don't think I'll believe you just because you're like this unless you lick me. Hearing Pippi's words, the 5 women's jaws almost dropped to the ground. Was this Water City's IQ? Couldn't he be more serious? Yang Haoyan was very angry. Why did this guy not believe him? Then I'll give you another bite. Yang Haoyan picked up the sword. The 5 women, if you dare to lick it once, I'll admit it. Pippi said in a low voice. All right, I'll show you. Zilliu, this Yang Haoyan was really disgusting. It was as if he was eating skewers. Was there a need to lick him from top to bottom? Was he being too serious? This should be enough, right? Yang Haoyan said indignantly. I, Do Zun, have already licked him. If you still don't believe me, I will open the ladle for you. Pippi suddenly nodded. Yes, I believe in your sincerity. As soon as he said this, Yang Haoyan suddenly had a bad feeling and retreated. Qing Yutong and the others were also a little confused. What is going on? Yang Haoyan's face turned green. He pointed at the blade on the ground and said, It's poisonous. Pippi smiled proudly and picked up the sword beside him. He stood up and said, My father also said that a man should use his brain to defeat his opponent. You cheated? Yang Haoyan felt his body stiffening. This was probably a hard poison. Yang Haoyan sheathed his sword and chuckled. My mother once said that the winner is king and the loser is a bandit. You can only blame yourself for being too stupid. You. Qing Yutong and the others also didn't expect that after going in such a big circle, he would suddenly make a counterattack. Is this leather horse really smart, or is he pretending to be smart? Yang Haoyan's body was already stiff, and he was even looking at Qing Yutong with a pleading gaze. Boss, save me. Qing Yutong directly ignored it and finally entered into the normal storyline mode. Hero, thank you for saving us. If not, we would have been tainted by this bastard. Qing Yutong said with incomparable gratefulness. When Pippi heard this voice, he felt as if the world had become clear. It was as if the person who had just knelt down wasn't him. Perhaps what he did was not embarrassing himself at all. It was all normal operations. You don't have to be so polite. Leather was just helping out when I saw injustice on the road. I'm sorry to have startled you. Leather appeared to be very polite. He even bowed to express his apology in a gentlemanly manner. Yu Hua felt that she had to say something as well. Hero, I have no way to repay you. When Pippi heard this, he became excited. After all, the latter part of this sentence was very tempting. Usually they would devote their lives to him. This woman was really beautiful. Her skin was so white, even whiter than the women in Water City. How did she maintain her skin? If you really want to marry him, House Pai's son wouldn't mind. I can only thank you for saving my life. Of course, Yu Hua wouldn't say those words. She already had a husband, it was just an act. Pippi looked disappointed. This was not what he wanted to hear, but he still said, Miss, you are too polite. It was nothing. After saying this, Pippi didn't know what else to say. He could only signal his guards to capture this perverted thief. Although Yang Haoyan's body was stiff, he could still speak. You guys saved me. At least I bought clothes for you guys. Yang Haoyan was very depressed. If I am captured and brought to Water City, I will be done for. At this time, Brett suddenly said, Hero, can you bring us ashore? After hearing that, Pippi was a little depressed. At any rate, I am your savior. Miss, do you want to stay and have a meal with us? Pippi invited. Qing Yutong let out a breath of relief. Fortunately, Brett knows how to speak. That's not good. This man also said the same thing at the start, but he tricked us into coming here. What if you are the same? Kai Yun pouted and said. That cute look really made people want to commit a crime. Pippi patted his chest and shouted, How can the son of House Pai be the same as this kind of animal? You guys can rest assured. Yang Haoyan even had the heart to die. I am an emperor. An emperor who has a red packet system. How did I become an animal? This is all their scheme. This is simply a huge loss, a huge loss. Not only did I not get the red packet, I even have to bear the name of this animal. The 5 women did not immediately agree, and a fearful look appeared on their faces. Pippi felt that it was natural. After being tricked once, they would definitely be on guard. Our Water City scenery is exceptionally beautiful, you guys will definitely like it. Pippi said again. Yizizi asked curiously, Really? Of course it's true. You guys can ride on a seahorse and travel around the underwater world. Pippi decided to break through from Yizizi. Little girls are easy to trick. Yizizi pulled onto Qing Yutong's sleeve. Big sister, how about we go and take a look? Qing Yutong still had a hesitant look on her face. Miss I, the son of House Pai, can definitely guarantee your safety. Then let's go and take a look. Yu Hua also said softly with a trace of embarrassment. Seeing that there was hope, Pippi hurriedly said, My House Pai is one of the 3 big families in Water City, you guys don't have to be afraid. Alright then, if you dare to do that to us, we won't let you off even if we become ghosts. Qing Yutong warned, but she did not have the slightest bit of strength. However, Pippi liked this kind of girl. Although she did not have any strength, she had her own persistence. Compared to those girls who threw themselves at him, she was much better. Seeing that the beautiful girls had agreed, Pippi became happy in his heart. He immediately turned his head and shouted, Throw this person into the prison and await punishment. I'm being wrongly accused. Save me. Young Haotian was in despair, then was brought into the water by 2 guards. Girls, you guys will definitely like Water City. Yang Haotian said with a slight smile. He stretched out his hand and waved it lightly. Qing Yutong and the others immediately felt a surge of power on their bodies. Pippi explained, This magic can allow you guys to breathe freely underwater. Qing Yutong nodded her head. Pippi whistled towards the surface of the sea. Not long after, the surface of the sea began to churn, and a huge turtle could be seen floating on the surface of the sea. Girls, don't be afraid, please follow me. Pippi said with a slight smile. He was a sunny young man. If he did not kneel down just now, he would indeed be very handsome. The 5 of them stood on the back of the turtle and gradually sank into the water. To be honest, Qing Yutong and the others were a bit curious about the underwater world. They had never come into contact with it before. This time, on one hand, they were here to cause trouble, on the other hand, they were here to take a look at the underwater world. As the huge turtle dived, everyone did not feel any discomfort. On the other hand, the surrounding scenery was very attractive. Baidu search 881 Chinese website yen. No advertisement. Chapter 892. Omega choking with sobs. Novel. There were a lot of creatures under the water, and they were also very peculiar, causing Qing Yutong and the others to exclaim in admiration. This place was much more beautiful than the animal world. The creatures also began to grow in size. There were ironhead fish that were hundreds of feet long, and there were even ferocious beasts that were hundreds of feet long. However, when they saw the skin, they avoided it. Their ferocious appearance was quite frightening. Apart from the enormous vicious beasts, there were also many cute little creatures that emitted all kinds of light, illuminating the dark seabed. It was truly beautiful. However, everyone was still diving down and their speed was not very fast. This was done on purpose to let these beauties enjoy the scenery, and when the time came, they would not be able to leave. Why is there a layer of clouds down here? Kai Yun asked curiously. Not far below, there was a layer of cloud-like thing floating. Pippi carefully explained, After passing through this barrier, we will reach Water City. So this mist is a barrier, no wonder. As the giant tortoise pierced through the clouds, a dazzling world appeared before everyone's eyes. This. Qing Yutong muttered. Yu Hua and Brett were also a little confused, while Kai Yun and Yi Zizi had joyous expressions on their faces. The entire city was glowing brightly, and countless underwater creatures were shuttling back and forth. Was that building serious? The style of the building was completely out of tune with the outside world. Are you curious about the architecture here? Pippi smiled. That's right, why are the buildings here so strange? Qing Yutong asked curiously. Pippi stood with his hands clasped behind his back and said in a low voice, We have to start from our ancestors. It's a long story. In any case, they were the ones who did it. After hearing that, Qing Yutong had a thought. Their ancestors definitely came from another world because the buildings in this place had a kind of advanced design just like the future. Especially that hourglass-like building, this kind of design is not something that an ordinary person would be able to think of. Hero, how big is this Water City? Yu Hua asked curiously. That includes the entire Sea of Innocence. Wouldn't that mean that it would be bigger than any other power? Bigger than even Wuxia Empire? The giant tortoise floated above the city. After the 5 of them came down, a guard brought 5 seahorses over. This seahorse was quite cute and it gave off a faint golden glow. The 5 women immediately rode on it, feeling that it was very novel. Leather led the way in front, causing the surrounding people to be extremely curious. Wow, look, General Pai actually brought. He brought such a beautiful woman into the city. Yeah, these 5 women are so beautiful. The older ones are beautiful and the younger ones are cute. General Pai is really lucky this time. Of course, Pippi also heard the envious voices around him. He felt a little proud in his heart. Bringing such a beautiful woman with him would give him face wherever he went. Qing Yutong nudged against Brett, who was at the side, then looked at the things on the city wall. Canon Brett also felt that it was similar. Although his appearance had changed, he still gave off a sense of deterrence. "Hero, what is that on top of the city wall?" Qing Yutong asked curiously. "Oh, that is called a star cannon. Even a Dozun has to be careful." Speaking of this, Pippi felt proud. As a member of Water City, he felt a sense of accomplishment. "Is it that powerful?" Kai Yun asked curiously, as if he wanted to test out its might. Pippi smiled proudly. "Of course, this is something left behind by the ancestors of Water City." Qing Yutong dared to guarantee that the ancestors of this Water City definitely came from another world. However, why did they not go to the land and instead came to the water? This made them curious. After passing through the city gate made of crystal, there was basically no passageway here. All the passageways were made by creatures sitting on the water. Brett felt that this place was very similar to Blue Blaze Star, at least the pattern was very similar. "The passageway is below." Pippi seemed to know the doubts of the 5 women and said casually. Qing Yutong looked down. Indeed. However, the 5 women discovered that this city had a festive atmosphere, as if some kind of celebration was being held. "Hero, why is there a red cloth hanging on every house?" Yu Hua asked curiously. "Oh, Bao family is looking for a son-in-law." Pippi said indifferently. It seemed like he did not have a good impression of this Bao family. "Bao family?" Yi Zizi asked curiously. This Bao family is also one of the 3 big families of Water City. There is also a Kong family. Qing Yutong and the others finally understood. Pai, Bao, and Kong family controlled the entire Water City. How can they cause trouble like that? It seems like they can only use their looks to cause trouble. Pippi had his own mansion, which was very luxurious. It seems like Pippi's position in Pai family was not low. At the very least, he was a powerful existence among the younger generation. "5 ladies, do you want to take a rest first?" "Take a rest? Take a rest my ass, we are here to cause trouble. If we are going to take a rest, what kind of trouble is there to cause?" "No need, Hero, your mansion looks very big." Kai Yun ran around, appearing very happy. Yu Hua followed behind him and took care of Kai Yun. "Don't call me Hero, I really don't dare to, just call me Pippi will do." However, just after Pippi finished speaking, 2 figures descended from the sky. "Third brother, I heard that you brought back 5 beauties as your big brothers. I immediately came over to check on you." The 2 men looked very similar to Pippi, just that the smile on their faces was a bit bad, as if they were suppressing someone. The one who spoke just now was the second brother, Pai Guanghui, and the one who stood at the side was the eldest brother, Pai Cheng. Fortunately, Qing Yutong did not go to rest just now, otherwise she would have missed this opportunity. And when Pai Cheng and Pai Guanghui saw Qing Yutong and the others, both of them revealed a shocked expression. As expected, they are very beautiful. It is really impossible to describe with words. How did third brother manage to meet these kind of women, and even brought all of them home? Do you really not know how many to give to your big brothers? Are you able to handle all 5 of them together? Pippi looked at his big brother and second brother, and the smile that was originally on his face instantly disappeared. These 2 had always been making fun of him since he was young. Although it was just a small matter, he was still very unhappy about it, and would often complain about it in front of his father and mother. Big brother, second brother. But no matter how much he disliked them, he still had to call them. This was a matter of etiquette. "Third brother, aren't you going to introduce them to us?" Big brother Pai Cheng said with a slight smile, showing that he was very well behaved. But as long as one knew Pai family's eldest young master and second young master, they were nothing more than 2 playboys. Pippi said with a slight smile, "These 5 ladies are my third brother's guests." "So they are guests? I thought they were third brother's beauties." Pai Guanghui laughed, then walked into the house with Pai Cheng. Observing them from a close distance, they are even more beautiful. This third brother's luck is really good, to be able to encounter such a thing while he was out patrolling. If I had known earlier, I would have also gone to try my luck with beauties. Baidu search 881 Chinese website yen. No advertisement. Chapter 893. Omega 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 choking with sobs. Novel Qing Yutong and the others immediately stood behind Leather Horse, and they had a very scared look on their faces. However, this pitiful look made Pai Cheng and Pai Guanghui even more excited. This woman, only when she was weak did she feel the best. "Big brother, second brother, don't scare my guests," Pai said in a deep voice. His face gradually darkened. It was fine if you guys caused trouble in the past, but now they were my guests. If you dare to touch them, then don't blame me for not showing mercy. Pai, how can you speak to big brother and second brother like that? You really don't understand etiquette. Pai Guanghui reprimanded. You really don't understand the rules. You want to monopolize such a beauty? How could this be? Qing Yutong, who was hiding at the back, secretly had a naughty smile on her face. From the looks of it, we are all femme fatale. No matter where we go, we will be able to bring about calamity. Only a man like brother-in-law would be able to handle it. Big brother, second brother, there are guests at home today, so I won't entertain you too. Third brother, look at what you're saying. We're all family, so why are you talking about taking care of them? Pai Qing smiled and took a few steps forward. Qing Yutong and the others were so scared that they started trembling. Pai stood in front of the 5 women and shouted, Big brother, that's enough. Pai, don't be like this, big brother doesn't have any evil intentions. Pai Qing looked at Qing Yutong and the others and revealed out a smirk. The more he looked at her, the more beautiful she became. She was much better than those women in Watertown. The women of Kangluo continent were indeed different. He really wanted to go out and experience the outside world, but unfortunately the rules were set. The people of Water City were not allowed to step onto land. Pai Guanghui smiled and said, It's your first time in Water City after all? Now that the Bao family has found a son-in-law, we should go and have a drink. Why don't we go together? Second brother, you don't have to worry about it. When the time comes, we will naturally go. Third brother, the more people there are, the livelier it is. Could it be that you want to lock them up at home and do something? Pai Cheng's words caused Qing Yutong and the others to go into a daze for a moment, then immediately revealed an expression of fear. Pippi felt that these 2 brothers were really good at stirring up trouble. Pai Cheng and Pai Guanghui also saw the 5 women's expressions. It seemed like they did not completely trust their brother, which was a good thing. Miss, why don't we go and play together? It's also very stuffy here, Pai Cheng suggested. Qing Yutong and the others hesitated. Pippi knew that he couldn't force them to stay, so he said in a deep voice, All right then, let's go have a drink together. Ladies please, Pai Cheng said with a frivolous smile. You seem to be very polite. However, the viciousness in his words was not revealed. Qing Yutong and the others also did not refuse, and went to take a look at what that Bao family was like. The sea dragon carriages outside were all ready. It seemed like they had come prepared. Qing Yutong and the others got on the carriage and the 3 brothers rode on the seahorse at the front. At this time Yuehua whispered, Yang Haoyin won't be killed, right? Yuehua, you can rest assured. That Yang Haoyin is at the very least a dozun. How can he be killed so easily? Kai Yun was very reassured. When the time came to leave, he would go and rescue Yang Haoyin from prison. Thinking of this, Kai Yun suddenly had an idea, and then he waved his hand. Aren't the people of this Water City not allowed to go ashore? How about we get them ashore? Kai Yun suggested in a low voice. That was a good idea. How do we get them ashore? Yi Zizi asked in a low voice. Kill them. Brett said calmly. Qing Yutong and Yuehua nodded. Only hatred could force the people of Water City out. The troublemaking team began to concoct a plan. How should they draw this hatred? The Bao family was relatively far away. However, in one of the Bao family's rooms, a man wearing a red groom's attire sat at a table, his face brimming with smiles. In truth, this man could be considered an old acquaintance. Qi Shuwen, who possessed the divine dragon system. A few months ago, Qi Shuwen hadn't been in Water City. However, he needed a vast sea to eat, so he came to the Sea of Innocence. By a freak combination of factors, he ended up in Water City. Then, a traditional hero came to save the Bao family's eldest daughter, Abalone Yu. In the beginning, Qi Shuwen didn't think much of it. Although she was a rare beauty, Qi Shuwen's focus was still on cultivation and gathering draconic qi. However, Abalone Yu took a fancy to Qi Shuwen. She followed him around every day, and gradually, Qi Shuwen figured out Abalone Yu's background. She was actually the daughter of one of the 3 great clans of Water City, the Bao family. Furthermore, she was the eldest daughter. If he didn't take advantage of such a resource, he'd be a huge idiot. Water City was simply too rich in resources. It was practically built for him. He could hide here and quietly become a supreme. When the time came, he could summon clouds and rain with a flip of his hand. How wonderful would that be? Qi Shuwen pushed open the door and walked out onto the balcony. This was the tallest building in the entire region. With a single glance, he could see everything. This feeling. It was like she was holding everyone's fate in her hands. This was a feeling he'd never felt before. At that moment, Qi Shuwen couldn't help but think back to the events of the past. the North-South martial arts competition. That empress held everyone's lives in her hands. Even he was the same. If she wanted someone dead, that person would die. That feeling was exactly what he'd been yearning for. But now, Qi Shuwen spread his hands and clenched them. He was slowly beginning to master them. Looking at the entire Water City celebrating for him, he felt so good. "Son-in-law, everything's ready," the maid's voice rang out from outside. Qi Shuwen took a deep breath. What's so bad about being a live-in son-in-law? As long as he got what he wanted. As long as the system was still around, there would be a day where he would achieve meteoric success. Walking out of the room, Qi Shuwen revealed a brilliant smile. This smile came from the bottom of his heart. Everything that he had today was not easy to come by. Water City's wedding didn't have that many customs, and it even had a hint of being ahead of the times. All of these customs came from the old ancestor. Even Qi Shuwen felt that the old ancestor of Water City should be someone from the modern era, and not someone from the future. Looking at the way the banquet was being held, with a few hundred tables and the entire restaurant being booked, Bao family was just that awesome. At this time, Qin Yutong and the others arrived as well. However, they completely didn't know that they were going to meet their acquaintances later on. However, Qi Shuwen didn't want to see Qin Yutong and the others at all, because that would make Qi Shuwen feel that he wasn't the main character, and was only a supporting character among the main characters. Who would be willing to be a supporting character? Everyone wanted to be the main character. This Bao family is truly rich and overbearing. Pai Ching muttered. Pai said indifferently, "You speak as if our family doesn't have any money." Pai Guanghui patted on Pai's shoulder. "Third brother, money is not easy to come by. As the guardian family of Water City, we have to set an example. Look at this Bao family, they are spending so much money just to hold a wedding." Baidu search 881 Chinese website yen. No advertising words. Chapter 894. But I heard that Bao family's son-in-law is quite talented. Pai Ching said faintly he wanted to meet him. Pai Guanghui didn't think so. How strong can the son-in-law be? He's just a gigolo. Pai remained silent, he didn't want to discuss this matter at all. He originally planned to eat alone with the 5 beauties but in the end, that abalone, she is still a beauty of our Water City, but she was actually married by an outsider, so embarrassing. Pai Guanghui pouted his mouth. If he said he didn't have any thoughts about abalone, that would be a lie. Who didn't love beauties? Pai Ching also didn't say anything. The group of people arrived at the restaurant, and it immediately caused a commotion. The 3 brothers of Pai family are here, what a rare sight. That's right, I heard that the 3 brothers don't get along. Why did they appear together today? This rumor really can't be believed. Who's sitting in the car behind them? Who else can it be? It's definitely a woman. Just when everyone was guessing who was inside, Qin Yutong and the others began to walk down one after another. The surroundings became quiet. The 3 brothers of Pai family immediately felt that they had gained face. Look at all these men, they were all stunned by their beauty. This is what women are. That abalone is nothing, even in front of them he still has to feel inferior. The appearance of Qin Yutong and the others indeed caused a shocking effect. They were all beauties that could cause trouble. My God. The 3 brothers of Pai family actually brought such a woman over. Don't ask me why, they are definitely here to cause trouble. Is there even a need to say, abalone is already a beauty, and now there is an even more beautiful one, even the bride's beauty is inferior. Where did the 3 brothers of Pai family find such a beauty? If it was in Water City, it would have already been spread around. Maybe it's from outside. Everyone spoke one after another, all of their gazes were on Qin Yutong and the others. There were quite a lot of gazes on Brett, after all his body was too hot. Yuhua was also the same, they were both mature and tall women. And some of the uncles' gazes were on Yi Zizi and Kai Yun, 2 Lolas. Grabbing onto those 2 ponytails was like crazy. Be careful of the stairs. Pai said softly. And thank you. Yuhua was still very polite. Seeing this, Pai Cheng and Pai Guanghui also started to give instructions. This scene made everyone realize one thing. The 3 brothers of House Pai hadn't gotten their hands on her yet, but they thought they had. Yo, isn't that the 3 brothers of House Pai? 2 sea dragons surged forward, creating a wave. 2 men came down from the dragon's back. Pai Cheng looked on coldly. Not only Pai Cheng but also Pai Guanghui and Pai Bu. These 2 were from the Kong clan. They were also the 2 most outstanding young men. Eldest brother Kong Hong and 5th brother Kong Tai. The 2 of them looked very similar. They were brothers born from the same mother. He was the kind of man with elegant demeanor. As soon as the two of them arrived, they were attracted by the appearance of the 5 women. He completely ignored the Pai brothers. But Kong Hong and Kong Tai were not so impatient. They slowly walked over and said with a smile, "Young lady is really beautiful, I wonder if we could know young lady's name?" Kong Hong. "What do you mean?" Pai Ching shouted coldly. It wasn't a matter of whether they were women or not, these two were here to lose face. Although the 3 brothers of House Pai didn't get along with each other, this was an internal problem. When someone came to provoke them, it was better for them to unite against the external enemy. Kong Hong didn't show any anger on his face, while Kong Tai said indifferently, "A graceful lady is a gentleman's desire, with such a beauty by the side, how could we ignore her? That would be disrespect to the young lady." Pai Pai's face darkened. "Kong Tai, stop talking here, this has nothing to do with you." After saying that, he said to Qin Yutong, "Let's go in first." Qin Yutong's face showed signs of struggle, as expected of a movie queen. Kong Tai caught it very well. "Pai Pai, the other lady seems to be unwilling, are you threatening them?" "Fifth brother, you're right, young lady, are they threatening you?" Kong Hong's face gradually became cold, and a murderous aura instantly spread out. At that moment, the 5 women immediately hugged each other. That pitiful look made it seem as if they were being threatened by everyone. Actually, they were laughing in their hearts as expected. Looks could make them cause trouble. The 3 brothers of House Pai weren't cowards. The power of a Do Zun was instantly unleashed. Just like that, the atmosphere had already frozen to the extreme, and the people who were watching the show all dispersed. House Pai and House Kong were going to fight, and they were going to fight over women. Everyone, let's talk this out." An elegant man walked out from the restaurant. He didn't look very handsome, but his eyes were very strange. This was the eldest son of House Bao Baopa. Baopa, who walked out, saw Qin Yutong and the others. As if he had already guessed something, it was normal for a hot-blooded young man like him to fight over a woman. Baopa was slightly older and his strength was slightly stronger, so the 5 men would give him some face. The 5 of them retracted their aura, and the surrounding seawater became calm again. Some people were even unable to breathe due to the pressure. "Today is my sister's wedding day, I don't want to see a fight, or else don't blame me for not giving you face." Bao Po's tone was filled with warning. But right now, Qin Yutong really wanted to slap this man to death. They were clearly going to fight, but he really appeared at the right time. "Brother Bao, it's not us 2 brothers being unreasonable, it's just that the 3 brothers of House Pai are bullying someone else's lady," Kong Tai said with his hands behind his back. After all, this was House Bao's wedding day. Causing trouble was indeed not giving them face. Bao Pa looked at Pai Ching. "Is there such a thing?" Pai Ching said indifferently, 9 out of 10 of Kong Tai's words are lies, and one of them is bullshit." "Pai Ching, do you believe that I won't kill you right now?" Kong Tai shouted. His right hand was already on his sword. Kong Hong pressed his brother's hand and said indifferently, "Pai Ching, I think that you 3 brothers are really itching for a beating." "What, you really want to fight? Do you think that I, Pai Guanghui, will be afraid of you?" Kong Hong let go of his brother's hand, his gaze gradually darkened. "Since you want to fight, why don't we go to Deep Sea Arena to play after the wedding?" "Okay." Pai Pai immediately agreed. Qin Yutong and the others felt that this is good. "I didn't even say anything, I just made a few expressions and these people are already going to start fighting." Bao Pa was also unable to stop them and said indifferently with a smile, "Everyone, come in and drink a cup of wedding wine to calm down, and ladies, enjoy the festive atmosphere." Bao Po's words were still pleasant to listen to. Qin Yutong and the others continued to follow behind Pai Pai, but the Kong brothers also joined in. Chapter 895. They also noticed a problem. These 5 women seemed to be not familiar with the Pai brothers. That makes things easier. When a woman's appearance reached a certain level, it could indeed cause people to go crazy. It was not a groundless rumor that one would rather have a woman than a country. Qin Yutong and the others were protected like rare animals. Then they walked into a transparent crystal bubble. At the start I thought it was something, but I didn't expect. This is an elevator using water pressure to reach the desired floor. The old ancestor of Water Castle is definitely an alien. The group of people came to the top floor, and everyone here were influential people in Water Castle. However, the elders of Pai and Kong family did not come. The relationship between the 3 families was not as good as one would imagine. Usually they would only let the younger generation participate. It was considered giving face. The appearance of Qin Yutong and the others also caused silence. When the influential men in Water Castle saw Qin Yutong and the others, they all revealed the same kind of gaze, and that was a kind of greed. This kind of woman can only be hidden and cannot be seen by others. To be honest, these 5 women rarely appeared in front of the public. They were basically otakus, especially now that they appeared together. This kind of scene can only be seen during Yihua's meeting. This is the most beautiful woman I have ever seen. That's right, this old man has also seen countless women. That girl is too cute. That's right, especially that ponytail. There is also that cold-eyed tall woman. These are 5 women with different personalities. My God, this is too cool. It is simply a visual impact. Everyone was discussing, and Qing Yutong accepted such gazes. It was the same when she was a celebrity in the past. On the other hand, Yi Zizi was very unhappy. I really want to suck these people to death. Brett was also unhappy. Kai Yun and Yu Hua were still fine. Because of the protection of the Pai and Kong family's young masters, some people did not dare to act recklessly. Everyone, I won't be greeting you, do as you please. Bao Pa said faintly, then went to arrange other matters. After all, it was his little sister's wedding. Miss, sit here. Kong Tai pulled out a chair and Brett sat down without being polite. The others also learned from Kong Tai, pulled out the chair and let the beauty sit down. 5 men, just right for 5 women. A table of 10 people. Pai Pa felt that he had suffered a loss, the kind of loss. He was clearly the one who discovered it, so how did things turn out like this? It shouldn't be like this. He was the hero who saved them. But now, he felt that he was going to explode from anger. The weddings in this place sure are strange. Qing Yutong said curiously. To outsiders it was better to act a bit strange. Kong Hong chuckled and said, this is a rule set by Water City. It is indeed very different from the outside world. I see. Qing Yutong nodded her head. Suddenly a person appeared. Everyone stood up and bowed their heads slightly. Even the 5 young masters were the same. Who is he? Yizi asked in a childish voice. Pai Ching said in a low voice, this is the head of the Bao family, Bao Ci. Yi Zizi nodded her head. So that's how it is, he is the family head. No wonder he has the strength of an overlord. He was indeed powerful. However, he was unfamiliar with this supreme being. He had never seen him in that battle back then. It seemed like he had not participated in it. Is it very powerful? Kai Yun asked with a childish tone. Pippi said in a low voice, of course he is, Supreme Zun. Then he is truly powerful. This is the first time that I have seen a living Supreme Zun. Brett muttered. Everyone, Brett wasn't lying. The Supreme Zun that he had seen in the past were basically all dead, and this Supreme Zun was indeed a living Supreme Zun. Pai Guanghui said in a low voice, young lady, speak softly. If you were to be heard by others, it would bring you a fatal disaster. Brett didn't speak anymore. In her heart, she scolded the bunch of cowards with such guts. You guys still dare to come and flirt with me? Bao Ci had the appearance of a middle-aged man, but who knows how long he had lived. His strength had already reached the level of overlord, and he could transform into whatever he wanted. He could even transform into a woman. Standing on the main stage, Bao Ci's expression was deep. Then he said, today is the wedding of my daughter, Qi Shuwen. If everyone can drink to their heart's content, that would be giving me Bao Ci face. Qi Shuwen? Qing Yutong felt that this name was familiar. I seem to have heard it somewhere before. However, I couldn't remember where I heard it before. The other 4 women didn't know Qi Shuwen, and only Qing Yutong had seen him before. This Bao Ci's opening speech could be said to be very simple. With just this one sentence he disappeared from where he was. In any case, it is your daughter's wedding and you are leaving just like that? This is a bit too hasty. Right now, it was Bao Po's turn to take charge of the overall situation. Let's welcome the bride and groom into the venue. Bao Pa shouted with a joyous tone. A red carpet appeared in the center of the venue, extending all the way to the door and floating in the air. A gigantic seahorse appeared not far away, and the scales on the seahorse's body emitted a bright red light, illuminating the entire underwater area. A dragon's roar suddenly rang out, and everyone could be seen clapping. No matter if they were participating in the wedding or not, it was all the same. Even the people in the city were no exception, and they all gave their blessings. Under normal circumstances, such a gigantic life form was not allowed to enter the city, but today was a special day. Therefore, the gigantic seahorse came. Behind the seahorse, there was an exquisite wedding carriage. There were all kinds of water life forms decorating the carriage, and the carriage was filled with warmth and romance. As the seahorse stopped, a man walked down from the wedding carriage. The man was wearing a red wedding robe. After the man walked down from the wedding carriage, the man stretched out his arm. A spotlessly white arm that was like a lotus root stretched out and placed onto the man's palm. This arm was naturally Qi Shuwen and Abalone. Abalone did not have any red veil on her head, and she was also wearing a wedding robe. Along with the wedding robe that Qi Shuwen was wearing, the wedding robe formed a gorgeous color, causing people to exclaim in admiration at the craftsmanship of the wedding robe. Qi Shuwen looked at his wife. The more he looked at her, the more he liked her. She has both looks and talent. She is indeed worthy of me, Qi Shuwen. Husband. Abalone called out lightly. Qi Shuwen came back to his senses and said with a slight smile, Sharky, you are too beautiful. I became absent-minded for a moment. Abalone shyly lowered her head and lightly bit onto her lips. Husband really knows how to speak. The two held hands and tightly held onto each other as they walked on the red carpet, heading towards the banquet hall on the top floor. At this moment, Qin Yutong's system suddenly sounded out. Master, a system user has appeared. Oh, it is this groom. He is a system user. Why do I feel that I have seen him somewhere before? Qin Yutong tried to recall in her mind, but she was unable to recall where she saw him. What kind of system is he? Qin Yutong asked curiously. Master, he is a devouring system, commonly known as the Dragon God system. Through devouring, he collects dragon qi and strengthens himself. Chapter 896. Oh, so that's how it is. It sounds like it is very powerful. Qin Yutong pouted her mouth. Seems like there is only that kind of thing, right? Poking it to death with a single finger. Of course it can't be compared to Master's system. Master's system is the most awesome existence in the system world. Qin Yutong laughed. Will you die if you don't brag about yourself? The system didn't say anything. This feeling of being pretentious was great. It could know the surrounding systems. Very soon, Qi Shuwen entered the venue while holding on to Abalone. The clapping of these 5 young masters was listless, but the others were clapping with all their might, as if they had a grudge against their palms. Didn't it hurt? Even if he wanted to curry favor, this was too exaggerated. Qi Shuwen held his head high and chest out, holding the hand of the woman beside him as if he was announcing something. However, it was also the women around him that made him who he was. If he lost the women around him, Qi Shuwen would be nothing. He would still be the person who obtained dragon energy by devouring living creatures. Qi Shuwen understood what these people were thinking. So what? So what? When I reach the ranks of supreme martial artists, even if I don't have a woman by my side, you will still have to respect me. At that time I, Qi Shuwen, will be able to cover the sky with one hand. Just as Qi Shuwen was shouting in his heart, he was attracted by the 5 faces. The thought of covering the sky with one hand instantly disappeared. Although he didn't recognize a few of the faces, Kai Yun. Yuhua recognized these 2 faces. He had also seen it on television back then. Although Voidless Realm didn't cause any trouble in the end, that was because Voidless Realm definitely subdued those people. That was to say, Voidless Realm has also come to Kangluo continent. How was this possible? Impossible. Why does Voidless Realm have to follow me wherever I, Qi Shuwen, go? Do you all still want face? They even chased him all the way here. What do you want me, Qi Shuwen, to do? Continue running? I've already run to the Kangluo continent. Where else do you want me to go? I didn't even go to land and hid in this water city, but I was still found by you. Damn it. Husband. Seeing that her husband was in a daze, Abalone called out softly. However, following her husband's line of sight, Abeo Yuyu saw 5 beauties, and she finally knew the reason why her husband was absent-minded. Because he saw another beauty. Abalone Fish's expression instantly turned ugly. Her own wedding. Her husband was actually staring at another woman. Where would he put his face? Suppressing the anger in her heart, Baoyu called out in a low voice, Husband! Qi Shuwen didn't hear Abalone, who was beside him, at all. His entire brain was buzzing because Voidless Realm had arrived. He would be suppressed again. However, in Baoyu's eyes, her husband was bewitched by other women, and they were 5 vixens. Bao Pe, who was presiding over the wedding, also gradually became gloomy. In fact, Bao Pe didn't agree to this wedding at first, but he couldn't resist his sister's pleading and insisted on marrying no one but him. After all, Abalone was the beloved daughter of the entire Bao family. Qi Shuwen was also a refined person, so he could be considered a good match. But, now, how dare he stare at another woman in a daze during a wedding? This was rubbing the Bao family's dignity under their feet. Look at all the guests, all of them discussing in low voices, and look at his younger sister's expression. House Pai's brothers thought that this son-in-law of House Bao was someone special, but they didn't expect him to be so mediocre. In a situation like this, he left his wife aside and looked at the beauties alone. I've seen amazing people, but I've never seen someone as amazing as you. The Kong brothers were the same. They liked beautiful women, but they also knew the situation. Moreover, you are a live-in son-in-law. If it weren't for the women around you, you wouldn't be where you are today. And you are actually staring at a woman, Sai. Are you here to be funny? Kai Yun and Yu Hua were also very puzzled. Why did this man keep staring at them? Was he sick? Suddenly, Qing Yutong slapped her thigh, startling Brett, who was at the side. Qing Yutong remembered, I have seen this man before. Back then, when big sister and brother-in-law were still together, didn't they go to a fish restaurant to eat fish? Tang Wei knocked over a fish tank and the arowana fell onto the ground. He was the one who saved the fish. Speaking of which, he is Tang Wei's classmate. Why is he here? Interesting. Back then, Yi Hua also wanted to nurture Qi Shuwen and Xen Ba into becoming his opponents. However, he felt that Qi Shuwen and Xen Ba were still not good enough, and thus he decided not to bother with them anymore. If Yi Hua was here, he would be a little happy. After all, this Qi Shuwen is starting to look like a decent person. At this moment, Pai Guanghui said with a ridiculing tone, this son-in-law of Bao family, does he not want his wife anymore? Along with Pai Guanghui's ridicule, the Kong brothers laughed. This kind of opportunity has to be grasped. After all, it is hard to come by. Beautiful women are indeed good-looking, but as a son-in-law of Bao family, his wife is the most important. Kong Hong said faintly. Along with the words of Pai and Kong family, Bao family's face lost all face, especially Abalone. Even now he is still staring at other people. Abalone, who was incomparably furious, immediately flung away Qi Shuwen's hand. At this moment, only then did Qi Shuwen react. Sharky, what's wrong? Qi Shuwen asked puzzledly, not quite understanding. Since you like them, why did you marry me? Abalone questioned coldly. She indeed liked Qi Shuwen because Qi Shuwen was honest and never took a look at other women, unlike other men who would be unable to move their legs away when they see beautiful women. But only today did she know that this Qi Shuwen was actually the same as other men. After seeing a real beautiful woman, he would also be unable to move his legs away. He didn't even know what he was doing. This is a wedding. You Qi Shuwen don't care about face, but my Bao family still care about face. Along with Abalone's words, the entire place became quiet. This sudden situation caused everyone to be shocked. Breaking off the engagement on the day of the wedding? This was something that had never happened in Water City before. It might even become the joke of the entire Water City after dinner. Sharky, it is not what you think, listen to my explanation. Qi Shuwen hurriedly pulled onto Abalone. He felt that Abalone's reaction was a bit too extreme. Just now, didn't she just become dazed for 10 seconds? But right now, I can only coax her, there is no other way. I'm not listening. I'm not listening. I'm not listening, Qi Shuwen. I originally thought that this kind of situation would only happen in my original world, but I didn't expect that even the girls in Water City are the same, unreasonable. Trying to reason with a woman, are you sick? At this moment, Pai Cheng said loudly, Sharky, Brother Pai had already told you in the past, look for a man. You must not look for a man like Brother Pai, who would be stupefied when he sees a beautiful woman. You just didn't listen to Brother Pai's words and looked for a man like this. Qi Shuwen was about to go berserk, but he endured it. Sharky, I'm sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. Can you forgive me this once? Chapter 897. When this sentence was said, the 5 young masters all laughed. Isn't this the funniest wedding in history? A man's wedding? You saw a beauty and you still don't want to admit it, do you still want face? There are so many people at the scene, everyone clearly saw what you did just now, and now you are actually begging for forgiveness. What is this man doing? I am looking down on you. Indeed, everyone looked down on this man. So be it, a man should dare to take responsibility for what he did, and yet he is actually begging for forgiveness in such a humble manner. Trash. Even Qing Yutong felt that this man is trash, he is simply the shame of the system world. With an incomparably powerful system, he should have risen up and not become a gigolo. Look at Yang Haoyin. For the sake of the system, he even threw away his F**king face, barging into the palace in the middle of the night and playing landlord with Do Fusher and his wife. He is too daring. Compared to Yang Haoyin is indeed much better, at least he fought for the system before. And you are here begging for forgiveness from a woman, sigh. What a trash. Bao Po was also angered to the point that he couldn't speak. Previously I felt that Qi Shuwen is like a man, but that sentence just now completely destroyed his image. Is this something that a man should say? He is simply not a man. Brett, Yeezy, and the others all revealed a look of disdain. Everyone present revealed a look of disdain. If it was possible, they really wanted to give Yeezy the middle finger. You, I love you, the kind of love that will never change even in death. Chi Shu-win hurriedly explained. Why am I so unlucky? I knew that nothing good would happen when I meet them. Look, the unlucky thing happened in an instant. I didn't even say anything and I didn't even do anything and I was inexplicably messed with. If this isn't unlucky, then what is it? And now, I have no choice but to beg for forgiveness. After all, it wasn't easy for me to reach where I am today. Hearing Chi Shu-win's words, Abalone said in a low voice, All right, love until death, then show me that you are dead, I will believe you. Chi Shu-win, I'm just a description. Chi Shu-win endured the pain in his heart and said. In the past, Abalone wasn't like this. She seemed to be very shy. Why did she suddenly seem to have changed into a different person? You really can't trust a man's words. Brother Pai is right. Abalone Fish coldly snorted. She suddenly felt that Chi Shu-win was very disgusting and hypocritical. Only today did she see his true colors. She must have been blind to have fallen for such a man. Pai Ching immediately replied, Sharky bro, Pai won't lie to you. You have to think it through. Shut up. Chi Shu-win turned around and bellowed. Everyone was dumbfounded by this shout. Pai Ching was the young master of House Pai. How could a son-in-law do something like this? How rude. Pai Ching didn't expect that this pretty boy dared to shout at him. He simply didn't want his life. I dare you to say that again. You're not the Bao family's son-in-law now, and it's not even certain if you can become the Bao family's son-in-law. Therefore, you better be careful. Of course, Pai Ching wouldn't let it go just like that. A little son-in-law dared to be naughty. Look at that Bao Pai, even he has to talk to me properly. Who do you think you are? Chi Shu-win was also intoxicated. Those sarcastic remarks and those ear-piercing laughter were all lingering in his mind. Finally, it exploded. You're the one who should be careful. I, Chi Shu-win, don't need you to care what I do. What kind of trash are you? Following Chi Shu-win's words, the entire world seemed to have frozen. What was the scariest thing? The scariest thing was that even the air froze. It was a bad feeling, as if something bad was about to happen. Pai Ching was a little startled. This pretty boy was just begging a moment ago, and suddenly he turned hostile. It was as if he had changed into a different person. The Kong brothers were a little surprised as well. This Chi Shu-win was really quick to turn hostile. He even dared to scold the young master of House Pai. Bao Yuyu didn't expect Chi Shu-win to do this. He was a little worried. After all, it wouldn't be good if things got out of hand. Bao Pa couldn't figure out Chi Shu-win. Which one was the real him? Was it the begging version or was it the dominating version? Bang. Pai Ching slammed the table and pointed at Chi Shu-win. You motherfucker, say that again. Even the heavens can't save you today. Come on. My Chi Shu-win's life is not under the control of the emperor. Chi Shu-win suddenly became hard. It really made people speechless. Good. Bao Pa, how are you going to settle this matter? Pai Ching shouted angrily. I must definitely let him see why the color is so red today. Bao Pa naturally didn't wish for more problems to arise. He looked towards his little sister. You are the one who chose the man, you should just be more or less done with it. After making a fuss, if you really don't get married, where would father put his face? Bao Yuyu also knew that it was enough to teach him a lesson just now. In the future, don't be like this anymore. Therefore, Bao Yuyu prepared to continue holding on to Chi Shu-win's hand. However, Chi Shu-win angrily flung his hand away and looked at Bao Yuyu coldly, and even looked at everyone coldly. Everyone here was laughing at themselves. If there comes a day when I, Chi Shu-win, become a supreme, I will slaughter the entire water city and let everyone know that I, Chi Shu-win, am also a person with dignity. I won't allow anyone to trample on me. Seeing Chi Shu-win flinging away Chi Shu-win angrily, everyone was shocked once again. Even Chi Shu-win was shocked. Not only Chi Shu-win. Even Qing Yutong couldn't understand what was going on. Just what kind of person is this? Originally, you asked others to forgive you, and now that others have forgiven you, you flung away your hand. What is the meaning of this? Don't understand, Chi Shu-win shouted out gravely. Let me tell you all. I, Chi Shu-win, also have dignity. Don't think that after I, Chi Shu-win, leave anyone. I, Chi Shu-win, will become poor and dejected. When I rise up, you all are not worthy of me. Today's marriage. I, Chi Shu-win, am not going to accompany you anymore. Bao Yuyu, since you don't believe me, then let's forget about it. Today I am not worthy of your Bao family. Tomorrow perhaps you will not be able to climb up to me. Facing Qi Shuwen's words, everyone expressed their doubts. Who doesn't know how to talk, who doesn't know how to act cool? Do you think that becoming a supreme is a joke? Youngsters just like to brag, sigh. He must have definitely gone mad from anger. However, Qin Yutong believed in Qi Shuwen's words. With the system's assistance, becoming a supreme is only a matter of time. In the future they will indeed not be able to climb up to Qi Shuwen. Baopa shouted out coldly, Qi Shuwen, don't be so shameless. Do you know what the consequences will be? Consequences? That is still better than standing here and receiving your insults. Abeo Yuyu, today you have let me see clearly. Looking at Qi Shuwen's angry shout and that cold and detached expression in his eyes, Qi Shuwen seemed to have returned to the time when he first met Qi Shuwen. Back then, Qi Shuwen also felt that Qi Shuwen was special, and thus Qi Shuwen continued to interact with Qi Shuwen, and slowly Qi Shuwen became attracted to Qi Shuwen. Chapter 898. Omega, choking with sobs. Novel, but when he was dumped just now he felt his heart ache. Especially when he heard these words, he seemed to have difficulty breathing. My husband, I know I was wrong. I was just jealous just now. I really didn't mean to do that. But Yu hurriedly walked to Qi Shuwen's side, grabbed Qi Shuwen's arm with both hands and pleaded in a low voice. Kong Tai snorted coldly, if you have the ability, then continue to be stubborn. If you weren't the Bao family's son-in-law, I wouldn't let you leave Water City alive. Not only will you not be able to walk out of Water City, I won't even let you find a piece of your corpse. Pai Guanghui slammed the table and shouted. He was simply a daring gigolo. Who did he think he was? He couldn't even reach out to him. Who does he think he is? On the other hand, Qin Yutong was very happy to see such a situation. I didn't expect that I would encounter such a thing the moment I came over. It would be the best if a fight can break out. However, there was no need to say anything. She just had to act pitiful to gain sympathy. Look at Brett, she's already immersed in her role. She's performing really well. I'll leave the title of Best Actress to you. Even Yi Zizi and Kai Yun had performed well. They were truly not bad. This place is too scary, Yu Hua said softly. Her voice was not loud but everyone heard it. Pippi hurriedly consoled her. Miss, we Water City's people are all very kind, but some people are insatiable. They think that they can do whatever they want after entering the Bao family. What a joke. Pippi's heart sank. Qi Shuwen glared at the fifth young master, looking like he would start a fight at any moment. If not for abalone dragging me, I, Qi Shuwen, would have let you see how red the color of blood is. However, could an abalone really hold Qi Shuwen back? Wasn't it because you, Qi Shuwen, were scared? Needless to say, Qi Shuwen was indeed a little terrified. He blurted out everything in the heat of the moment. But now that he had calmed down he realized where he was. Even if he couldn't match up to them he had to stay alive. If he really failed today he wouldn't be able to get out of Water City. Then what was there to talk about? He reckoned that once he left this restaurant he would be finished. Husband, calm down. They're just egging you on. Don't be fooled. But Yu hurriedly said. If you were to leave now then you would be falling into their trap. Qi Shuwen finally had a way out of this embarrassing situation. He shouted, if it wasn't for Sharky's sake I would have killed all of you. When these words were spoken the entire place fell silent. They were all stupefied. This man really is. He was flexible. Just a moment ago he looked like he was going to fight with his life on the line, but then he changed again. It was too fast, it was really hard for anyone to react. Qin Yutong and the others were stupefied as well. This Qi Shuwen is truly outstanding. Are the heroic words that you spoke just now all farts? I have never seen such a shameless man before. If he had the guts to fight with the fifth young master, he would still be a man even if he lost. The result was the same. It was too disappointing. Looking at the fifth young master's expression, it was as if he had been struck by lightning. It was the first time he had seen such a man. He coward. Even Leather scolded disdainfully. And Kong Hong and Kong Tai were even more ruthless, raising their middle fingers. This caused Qin Yutong and the others to express their curiosity. Could it be that this middle finger is also passed down from your ancestors? Just how many traditions did your ancestors pass down? Abeo Yuyu shouted out, don't instigate my husband anymore, my husband will not fall for your tricks. Sharky, you are really smart, I will not fall for their tricks, I, Qi Shuwen, am not a fool. Everyone, can't you act like a man? Where did the awe-inspiring air you had before go to? You are too fucking trash. Husband, let's not lower ourselves to their level. And Sharky is right. Qing Yutong was almost unable to take it anymore. Just a moment ago he was still domineeringly flinging away other people's hands, and right now he is biting onto Sharky bit by bit, as if he is grabbing onto his last life-saving straw. I, Qing Yutong, am not convinced even when I pee on a wall, but you are the only one who is convinced. Right now Yi Zizi wished that she could smash him into pieces with a single punch. He is simply shameless. Trash, I despise you. Pai Qing shouted out. However, Qi Shuwen and Bao Yu ignored him. The two of them seemed to have reconciled and walked to the front desk together. At this moment, Bao Po's mood was very complicated. He really wanted to slap this man to death. He was simply shameless. He had never seen someone so shameless before. He didn't know why his sister was bewitched. It was simply incomprehensible. As the two of them walked to the front stage, everyone quietened down. After all, it was the marriage of the eldest daughter of the Bao family. The Pai and Kong families could be arrogant, but the others didn't dare to be arrogant. If they angered the Bao family, the consequences would be terrifying. So the wedding proceeded as usual. Qing Yutong sighed in her heart. This matter ended just like this. This is too disappointing. This coward, the Bao family, is going to become a joke, Pai Guanghui said in disdain. He didn't touch the dishes on the table as he had no appetite at all. What's wrong with a live-in son-in-law being a coward? Pai Qing said coldly. After all, he wasn't from the Bao family. However, right now, Qing Yutong was scheming something in her heart. Oh, that's right, what is that deep-sea arena that you all were talking about? Qing Yutong asked with a curious tone. Along with Qing Yutong's words, they seemed to have recalled something. Originally, they were going to the deep-sea arena to fight. Originally, it was fine if they didn't say it, everyone would just treat it as if they didn't say it, but now, since they had already mentioned the deep-sea arena, how could they still treat it as if they didn't hear it? Could it be that I have to learn from that Qi Shuwen? Isn't that the same as slapping my own face? So Pai Guanghui said indifferently, we will go after we finish eating, whoever doesn't go is a coward. I will accompany you to the end. Kong Tai said gravely. Right now it was too embarrassing to say no. After all, there was Qi Shuwen as an example. Right now Qing Yutong was at ease. Ladies, eat the dishes, don't worry, no one will be able to bully you all. Pai Qing said lightly, taking care of the five beauties. Qing Yutong was thinking, only you all are bullying yourselves, that's all. However, I still have to taste the food in this water city. All of them are seafood and there are a lot of varieties. This Bao family is truly rich. Yu Hua suddenly asked, why is this deep-sea arena called deep-sea arena? Kong Hong was more fond of Yu Hua and said with a smile, deep-sea arena, as the name implies, it is located in the deepest part of the ocean. The surroundings of the arena is filled with magma, and if you touch it, you will die. Thus, it is quite dangerous. Yu Hua's face was filled with fear as she hurriedly said, then don't go to such a dangerous place. If there is anything, let's sit down and talk about it. Yu Hua's words made them feel even more that whoever doesn't go would be a coward. Although they didn't really want to go, that place was indeed a little dangerous, and there was also the strange magma. Even a Dozun would be afraid of it. Thus, it was very dangerous. What is there to talk about? If you don't agree, then fight. Baidu search 881 Chinese net yen. Chapter 899. Following Pai Guanghui's words, the smell of gunpowder was enough. There will be a good show to watch later on. After that, nothing happened. The husband and wife duo started toasting each other, but they did not come to this table. Instead, they let Baopa come over to toast. Qing Yutong did not mind, but the fifth young master was very unhappy. This is not giving me face at all. Are you guys really going to the deep-sea arena later on? Baopa asked curiously. Of course, the words of a man carry weight. Kong Tai said faintly, isn't it just the deep-sea arena? What is there to be afraid of? Baopa laughed lightly. This deep-sea arena has not been open for a long time, it will be lively later on. Hearing this sentence, the fifth young master became silent. But since it has already come to this, I have no choice but to go. Baopa turned around and shouted, everyone, the Pai and Kong family's young masters are going to fight in the deep-sea arena later on, come and support them. Hearing Baopa's words, everyone started cheering. This is simply too awesome. Both sides of the fight are the young masters of the Pai and Kong family. There will be a good show to watch. Originally, the fifth young master wanted to carry out the fight in secret, but Bao Po's words directly exposed him. Not feeling good, very not feeling good. Brother Bao, how about we play together? Pai Qing said with a smile. Since you are not giving me face, then don't blame me. Bao Po appeared very calm. If I come, then I will be bullying the weak. Just ask if you dare or not, don't be so long-winded. Kong Hong shouted coldly. Since you guys request like this, then I will accompany you guys to play, don't cry when the time comes. Haha, who will cry and who will laugh is yet to be determined. When Qing Yutong heard that these people had already started to have internal strife, she was very happy in her heart. I am really looking forward to it. Would they fight to the death? Now that they were fighting, they couldn't care so much anymore. Then why are we still eating? Let's go. Pai Guanghui slammed the table. We are already going to the deep sea arena. I don't have the mood to eat anymore. Alright, let's go. Kong Hong said faintly. I will accompany you guys to play then. Bao Pa laughed lightly. Qing Yutong and the others were already impatient. They continued to sit on the carriage outside and followed these people to the deep sea arena. When everyone knew that they were going to the deep sea arena, they stopped eating and quickly followed them. After all, it was a rare opportunity to go to the deep sea arena. Without deep hatred, who would go there to fight? If they were not careful, they would die. However, young Master Six seemed to be discussing something. You guys are fighting because of the woman in the car, right? Bao Pa said lightly. The five of them remained silent. Bao Pa said again, since it's for a woman, then you have to get it. Otherwise, wouldn't this fight be a loss? What does 5 women have to do with you? Pai couldn't help but say. I'm just saying. If we fight today and something happens and the beauty leaves, wouldn't that be a loss? Haven't you guys thought about it? Bao Pa said indifferently. His meaning was clear. You guys are fighting for a woman. What if the other party didn't appreciate it? Wouldn't that be a waste of effort? Hearing what Bao Pa said, the 5th young master felt that what Bao Pa said made a bit of sense. How about we split it? Pai Ching said with a smirk. That's a good idea. Pai Guanghui raised both his hands in approval. Kong Hong laughed and said, Split? Sorry, us 2 brothers are preparing to split it, so the one who wins has the right to split it. Pai didn't speak at this moment. If we really split it, I should be able to get 2, right? In any case, I was the one who brought them here. Sure. Pai Ching didn't oppose. Then I want to get 2. Pai said gravely. He had already thought of who he wanted, that sexy one and that twin-tails one big and one small. It was just perfect. Pai Ching laughed and said, 3rd brother, your appetite is not small, you want 2, sure. Who asked you to be the one who found the beauty? You guys are talking too early, there's still me, I might even be able to carry 5 back, haha. Bao Pa laughed out loud. Why did he have to come up with such an idea? Of course I want the beauty too. After all, this kind of beauty is too rare and taking the risk for it is worth it. The 5 of them had a look of disdain on their faces. I thought that Bao Pa is a gentleman, but I didn't expect that he is this kind of man, truly trash. At this moment, Bao Pa waved his hand and quite a few imperial guards could be seen surrounding the carriage, preventing the spoils of war from escaping. However, within the carriage, Qing Yutong laughed and said in a low voice, their faces have been revealed. Yemen. Brett sneered. Other than his honor and Zhu Tian, there isn't anything good about men. Yizizi stroked her own hair and said with a slight smile, kill them all later on, it has been a long time since I sucked people. Kill them all, Kai Yin said happily. A mist of blood had already appeared in front of him. The scene that is about to happen will definitely be very exciting. Yu Hua didn't say anything. Killing them all is good. Qing Yutong said lightly, kill, of course we have to kill them, the problem is how do we kill them for it to be interesting? Everyone nodded their heads. Killing people is easy, the important thing is, how do we kill them to make them feel good? There was a group of people following behind the carriage, and there were at least several tens of thousands of people. All of them were riding on living creatures and following behind the carriage. Even Qi Shuwen and Bao Yu who had just gotten married were the same. Qi Shuwen knew about Kai Yun and Yu Hua and he sneered in his heart. You bunch of trash, you still don't know after falling into my trap, you bunch of idiots. Husband, do I look good or do they look good? Bao Yu who was sitting in Yi Hua's embrace suddenly said. Do you still want to compete? No matter who you compete with, you will still look good. To Qi Shuwen this was a free-point question. After hearing what Yi Hua said, Bao Yu was also very happy. The Bao Yu who was angry just now seemed to be fake. After a long time, everyone finally arrived at Deep Sea Arena. This was a strange place. On the horizon of the seabed, there was a huge crater, and it looked as if it was smashed down by a meteorite. At the center of the crater, there was a platform that was surrounded by red magma, and at the top of the platform there were spectator seats. Qing Yutong and the others got off the carriage. The surrounding people seemed to be protecting them, but in actuality, they were monitoring them so that they wouldn't let anyone escape. Hero, why are there so many guards? Brett asked curiously. Pippi squeezed out a smile and said with a bit of guilt, that is to protect you all, don't be afraid, no one will be able to bully you all here. However, right now they were already being bullied. Pippi truly felt uncomfortable in his heart. Brett replied with an oh, as if he really believed what Pippi said. This caused Pippi to not dare to make eye contact with them. I saved them, but in the end, I brought them into an even deeper tiger's den. However, there is no other way for women like these, even if I have to use some methods, it would be worth it. As the people entered the arena, the surrounding seats were all filled up. However, Qing Yutong and the others were still standing. There were guards all around them and they were not allowed to move even a single step. Chapter 900. This was no different from guarding a prisoner. Everyone noticed this phenomenon. This shouldn't be considered a duel. This was just dividing up the prey. The ownership of these 5 women had been decided. The young masters of the 3 great families of Watertown didn't think they were frivolous. This was because such a woman could only be assigned according to her strength. There was nothing else to say. This was also a normal performance. If it were him, it would be the same. When Qi Shuwen saw the 5 women, he didn't show an expression of schadenfreude. Instead, he looked at the 6 young masters with schadenfreude. I'm afraid you don't know this, but you can't afford to offend these 5 women. Back on Earth, who would have dared to touch it? Even if they were in a different place, just look at them. They were not afraid at all. He looked like he was trying to stir up trouble. You've all been fooled. But I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to watch you guys die. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I feel like I've reached the peak of my life. Qi Shuwen was so happy that he immediately hugged Baoyu and kissed her, causing her to be extremely shy. After all, the girls in Water City were very reserved. Kissing in such an occasion was still very embarrassing. There were too many people. The entire deep sea arena was filled to the brim with cheers. They were cheering for the distribution of beauties and cheering for the 6 young masters. Sigh, what a sin. Yi Zizi sighed softly. Kai Yun propped up his chin and muttered, yes, it really is a sin. Sigh, this is too sinful. Qing Yutong said. Those who commit sins will never know their sins, Brett said indifferently. Yu Hua smiled and said, let's observe a moment of silence for the sinners. The surrounding guards were confused. How could it be them who committed the sin? The ones who committed the sin were them. You're just dividing it like a prize. The 6 young masters stood in the middle, but they didn't fall. They seemed to be discussing how to compete. But just as the 6 people were discussing, a dragon roar suddenly sounded. This caused the 6 young masters to go into a daze for a moment, and they looked towards one direction. Roar. The dragon's roar rang out again, and a huge pressure caused the seawater to boil. This was the pressure that came from a supreme being. The Kong family's patriarch has arrived. Yeah, only Kong Fei Cheng of the Kong family has such a mount. It's been a long time since I saw the Kong family's patriarch riding a dragon. Don't tell me he's trying to steal my son's woman? Haha, that's possible. A green divine dragon appeared in the dark seawater. The green light was very obvious. Of course, there was also the figure on the dragon's back. Very quickly, the green divine dragon circled above the deep sea arena. Everyone stood up and greeted respectfully, Patriarch Kong. Father. Kong Hong and Kong Tai also greeted respectfully. Kong Feiqing was an ordinary middle-aged man, but underneath this ordinariness was a genuine supreme martial artist. Someone who could stand on the same level as Broken Meridian Sect and Deity Institution. If not for the green divine dragon beneath him, no one would know that he was a supreme martial artist. However, right at this moment, another strange sound rang out. Kong Feiqing focused his gaze and looked into the darkness. Very quickly, a white figure appeared. It was a horse. That's right, it was a white horse, but it wasn't an ordinary warhorse. It was a prairie warhorse, a prehistoric divine beast. The white flame on the horse's hooves was the best proof. Although the white flame was not as powerful as mystical fire, it was still very ferocious. Just a little bit of it would be fatal. However, it was a 2-headed horse. There was a sword-like thing growing out from the middle of the horse's brows. It was emitting traces of electricity. As expected of a prehistoric divine beast. Every part of its body was a treasure. This, even the Pai family's patriarch, Pai Liangjun, is here. He also brought out his mount. What are they planning to do? Don't you understand? They are planning to use their flashy mount to seduce those 5 women. That makes sense. I've never seen them take it out before. They hide it like a treasure. Following Pai Liangjuan's arrival, everyone stood up and greeted Patriarch Pai. Father. The three brothers of Pai family also greeted respectfully. They realized that their father's dressing today was a bit handsome. Could it be that he came to steal their son's wife? Pai Liangjun was indeed a bit handsome today. As for why he came, no one knew. However, just when everyone was guessing whether Bao family's patriarch Bao Ci would come or not, a loud roar could be heard. Even the dragon and the prairie warhorse seemed very irritable. It was as if they were going to go over and fight. A black shadow appeared in the deep sea, and on the back of the black shadow was a person. There was no light at all, but it was precisely because of this that the black shadow gave off a very oppressive feeling, mysterious with a hint of terror. Gradually, the black shadow appeared in everyone's eyes. A horrifying giant crocodile. Everyone cried out in shock. Their bodies were trembling. If the dragon and the prairie warhorse looked very tall, then the horrifying giant crocodile looked very ferocious. Its huge body was at least 100 feet long. Although its mouth was closed, its fangs were exposed. Every single one of its fangs could be seen. Every single one of its fangs could probably be made into a prehistoric godly item. That's right, this horrifying giant crocodile was the legendary prehistoric beast. Even Supremes didn't dare to provoke it. It should be said that the two prehistoric divine beasts and one prehistoric beast were all the same. But such an animal was actually tamed, and it was only by a single Supremes. This caused Qing Yutong and the others to be very puzzled. Prehistoric divine beasts and prehistoric beasts were rather ferocious and prideful. It was impossible for ordinary people to tame them. Then there was only one possibility. These three prehistoric divine beasts were left behind by their ancestors, generation after generation. Qing Yutong's guess wasn't wrong. With the strength of only Supremes, it was definitely impossible for them to tame the three prehistoric divine beasts. These three prehistoric divine beasts all had their own inheritances, and when the time comes, they could still be passed down to the next family. When Yi Zizi saw these three prehistoric divine beasts, she became a bit restless and even swallowed her saliva. Even Kai Yin was the same. After all, the two of them mainly devoured each other. When they saw these three prehistoric divine beasts, it was as if they saw a spicy chicken drumstick. 3 Supremes. The three prehistoric divine beasts floated in the sky, and everyone felt pressured. However, everyone was curious. Why did they suddenly appear? Could it be that they really did that with our son? Roar. A dragon roar immediately rang out. This was the roar that the green dragon let out towards the horrifying giant crocodile. The horrifying giant crocodile didn't cower and let out an even more ferocious roar. When that huge mouth of the crocodile opened up, it seemed as if it was going to swallow the entire sky. However, the prairie warhorse was attracted by a person. Chapter 901. She had a pair of red eyes, a horrifying smile, and that little tongue that was licking the corner of her mouth, as if she was very hungry. As if she really wanted to eat me up. Where did this little girl come from, to dare to be arrogant in front of me, Prairie Fire Warhorse? Let me roar once, I will let you all feel what is called the might of a primordial divine beast. Roar roar. Prairie Fire Warhorse also let out a terrifying roar. The dragon and the terrifying giant crocodile seemed to have gotten a shock. Are you fucking sick? Why did you roar without even greeting me? After roaring, Prairie Fire Warhorse felt very satisfied. Afterward, it looked towards Yi Zizi as if it was saying, if you look at me again, I will drink you up. Yi Zizi could be seen sticking out her little tongue, then quickly changed into her original form. This kind of change was very fast. Even Supremes were not able to see it, only Prairie Fire Warhorse was able to see it. Speaking of which, what is Yi Zizi's original form? I don't think I have seen it before. In the past, when I fought with Yi Hua, I didn't even reveal my original form. Yi Hua also seemed to not want Yi Zizi to reveal her original form, as if Yi Zizi revealing her original form was very troublesome. From this, it could be seen how abnormal Yi Zizi's original form was. Prairie Fire Warhorse that saw Yi Zizi was a bit stupefied. What did I see just now? Is that a ghost? How is this possible? My Prairie Fire Warhorse is actually scared. Just what is that thing? It carries a bloody smell, it wants to eat me up. Prairie Fire Warhorse could be seen gradually retreating, and its gaze was a bit fearful. Pai Liangjun felt the warhorse's intention and was very confused. Why did it get scared? Wasn't it very ferocious just now, roaring crazily? The dragon and the terrifying giant crocodile looked towards Prairie Fire Warhorse and were also confused as if they were asking, Is there a hole in your brain? Why are you retreating? Did you see a ghost? If Prairie Fire Warhorse could speak, it would definitely shout out, I saw a ghost just now, and it was a big red ghost. Pai Liangjun hurriedly comforted Prairie Fire Warhorse, but no matter how he comforted it, Prairie Fire Warhorse was still very scared. In Kong Feiqing and Bao Si's eyes, Prairie Fire Warhorse was scared silly by its own mount. Of House Pai, your warhorse seems to be a bit scared. Kong Feiqing gently stroked his dragon whiskers and smiled. Look at my divine dragon. Does the gaze of a king make you very afraid? Are you trembling? Bao Si stood on the crocodile's head and laughed. House Leader Pai, did you forget to feed it? At this moment, Pai Liangjun felt like he had lost all face. His prairie blazing warhorse was fine just now. Why did it suddenly become like this? Pai Liangjun pressed his hands on the two horses' heads, and his palms emitted a faint glow. Only then did the Prairie Fire Warhorse calm down a bit, and it wasn't that afraid anymore. However, the two pairs of eyes still didn't dare to look at those 5 women. Seeing that the Prairie Flame Warhorse had actually stabilized, Bao Si and Kong Feiqing were slightly disappointed because they did not see Pai Liangjun make a fool of himself. But that was about it. Looks like we're in trouble today, Bao Si said, looking at his son and the other 5. It is indeed a little troublesome. Kong Feiqing also looked at his 2 sons. Why did they come here for no reason? What a troublesome fellow. If there's really no other way, ask them to leave first. Pai Liangjun rode over slowly on his Prairie Fire Warhorse. Bao Si said in a low voice, if we tell them to leave now, they'll think we're doing something here. Ask them to hurry up and finish the fight, then scram. That's the only way. Kong Feiqing said in a low voice, and his gaze looked towards the lava, seemingly carrying some sort of excitement. The 6 young masters who were standing not far away from the lava all felt a bit unnatural. Just what is the reason for all of our fathers to come here? I have no idea at all, and all of them came out on their mounts. Just what is the reason for all of us to come here? Are they here to stop us? But looking at their actions, it doesn't seem like it. Right at this moment, Bao Si shouted out, Bao Pa, since you all have decided to have a proper fight, then hurry up. What are you all standing there for? Bao Si thought that his father was going to stop them, and didn't expect that it would be like this. Father. Qing Yutong pouted her mouth. Seems like he isn't simple. That's right, there's something even more delicious. Yi Zizi pursed her small lips. True, there's a good show to watch. Kai Yun clapped his hands and said, giving off a feeling as if he didn't know anything, the naive and romantic type. Brett let out a light sigh. I really want this farce to end quickly so that I can bring Ju Tian back and have fun. Every time I bring Ju Tian to take a bath, Ju Tian would reveal a look of despair. This is simply too interesting. I didn't expect that Ju Tian would have such a cute side to him. Yu Hua is still fine, Lai Gu is at home, and there are still the other 3 looking after her. Nothing will happen. In the arena, the winner of the first match had already been decided. That was Bao Pa versus Pai Pai. When the winner of the match was decided, the entire arena cheered. At this moment, Bao Si smiled and said, Clan Head Pai, I wonder if your 3rd brother will be able to fight against my son. Bao Si clearly had the intention of teasing Bao Pa. Bao Po's strength had reached rank 8 Dozun, while the other 5 were only rank 2 or 3. Their strength was still considered close, but compared to Bao Pa they were still lacking. Furthermore, Pai Pai was only a rank 2 Dozun. How could he be a match for a rank 8 Dozun? Hee Clan Head Bao, why don't you ask your son-in-law to come out and fight? I heard that your son-in-law made a fool out of himself. Pai Liangjun also knew how to say a few words of mockery. In the past, your Bao family didn't have anything to use against you, but now you have. You got the worst son-in-law in history. I really don't know what you are thinking. Bao Si didn't know what to say for a moment. This son-in-law is like a thorn in my heart. It doesn't hurt if it's on my chest, but my face hurts. But Yu likes it, what can you say? Even if you don't like it, you have to accept it. After all, I love my daughter dearly. Seeing that Bao Si didn't say anything, Pai Liangjun felt that he had finally turned the tables. Kong Feiqing didn't say anything at the side, but he was thinking about what to do next. The alliance was only temporary. When the time comes, if they were to fall out, it would be faster than anyone else. Originally, I thought that today was a good day and I thought that the wedding would attract people's attention. Who knew that they actually came here? The 3 of them directly looked at the culprit. The first sentence that appeared in their mind was, Femme fatale. If it wasn't because my son saw it first, I would also have the heart to go down and compete. After all, this kind of woman is indeed interesting. The older one is sexy and mature, while the younger one has an even more different kind of flavor, as if it is very pleasurable. As long as I grab the ponytail I can go crazy. Interesting enough. The three of them are really terrible old men, they are really bad. Qing Yutong pouted her mouth. They are really shameless, staring at me fiercely. Even your son isn't so unrestrained. Chapter 902. Yu Hua and Brett nodded their heads. They are indeed very bad, they are even worse than their son. Humph, Yi Yezi snorted, she decided to teach them a lesson later. Who do you guys think will win? Let's start the match, Qing Yutong laughed lightly. It should be that Bao Pe, his strength seems to be slightly stronger. Yu Hua said softly. The difference was right there, so it was easy to tell. Yu Hua's words obtained the agreement of the 5 women. If the difference in strength was close, then it would be hard to tell. But the distance between the two of them was a bit far, so it was not hard to tell. Even Pai Pai knew this, the difference between him and Bao Pe was right there, but no matter what, he still had to try his best. After all, there were so many people watching, it was fine to lose face in front of his brothers, but he definitely could not lose face in front of his father. After all, if he lost face today, he would become the joke of the entire Water City. Even if he lost face today, he had to lose with honor. Pai Pai, you are not my opponent. If you surrender, you will be spared from the pain of your flesh. Bao Pe did not even take out his weapon. It could be seen how much he looked down on Pai Pai. In Bao Pe's heart, he did not need to use his weapon to win against Pai Pai. It was the same even if he was against the other 4, if the 5 of them came together he would have to use his weapon. But right now there was really no need for that. Pai Pai took out his sword, it was that sword that was smeared with poison. To be able to poison Yang Haoyin, that kind of Zhizun, it could be seen how vicious the poison on the sword was. This poison was refined from the most poisonous creature in the underwater world, it was very precious. So if Pai Pai wanted to win now he had to use his sword to stab. Even if it was just for a moment. Bao Pe was very strong, this poison might not be able to make him stay in a stalemate for a long time, but even if it was just for a few seconds he still had a chance to win. This was Pai Pai's strategy. Use your weapon. Pai Pai shouted in a low voice. Bao Pe smiled slightly and said, I don't need a weapon to deal with you. Such hurtful words, but Bao Pe still said it. This made Pai Pai very angry. As long as you let my sword touch you, I will make you pay the price. Bao Yuyu, who was sitting on the audience seat, asked softly, Husband, do you think Big Brother will win? Of course, Big Brother is a rank 8 dozun. Dealing with a rank 2 dozun is just a matter of waving his hand. Qi Shuwen also thought this way. There was no suspense unless Pai Pai had purposely suppressed his strength and chose to erupt at this moment. If he was only a rank 2 dozun he would definitely lose today. Yes, I think so too. Her brother was so strong and her father was also so strong. When her husband grew up he would also be very strong. She was truly blessed. As the fight between the two began, the excited audience stood up and shouted. The blue veins on their necks looked as if they were about to burst. It was a shocking sight. Bao Pe, since you underestimated me, I will make you pay the price. Pai Pai angrily shouted as he brandished the sword in his hand in a strange and unpredictable manner. Bao Pe said indifferently, to be honest, I don't think that's necessary. At the very least, I should give you some leeway. Watch my sword. Leather suddenly stabbed out with his sword, and the entire deep-sea arena was illuminated by the sword light. With one look, one could tell that this sword was not an ordinary item. Not bad, you've improved, but you're still too far away. Bao Pe's voice came from behind Pai Pai. Pai Pai's expression darkened as he instantly felt a loud sound coming from his back. His body immediately flew out and smashed into a stone pillar beside him. Boom boom boom. The huge stone pillar suddenly collapsed and fell into the magma, instantly disappearing without a trace. The audience was silent. These two had just started fighting and Pai Pai was already at a disadvantage. He was even sent flying with a kick. It felt good to ruin the scene. It felt good in any way. Of course it was by shouting loudly. The entire deep-sea arena was filled with loud cheers. Even Kai Yun shouted excitedly. This kind of fight was suitable for him. He really wanted to go up and play with them. Kai Yun was referring to the 3 old men in the air and not anyone else. House Leader Pai, looks like it's still not enough. Please forgive me. Bao Ci began to show off. His son was really proud. Pai Liangjun said in a deep voice, Humph? The difference in strength is right there, what's there to be happy about? Strength is also obtained through cultivation. My Pe-er is extremely hard-working. As for those 2 sons of yours, if they cultivated like my Pe-er, how could they be so weak right now? Bao Ci boasted once more. His sons were just tools for him to brag about his own abilities. Pai Liangjun snorted and didn't say anything. How could he not know what his two sons were like? So embarrassing. Kong Feiqing didn't say anything because if he did, the result would be the same. His two sons weren't his match either. In the arena, Pai Pai steadied himself and stared at Bao Pa. Bao Pa stood with his hands behind his back and looked mysterious. Pai Pai, admit defeat. This is the best result for you. Don't even think about it. Pai Pai shouted angrily. It was absolutely impossible for him to admit defeat. Heaven Sealing Ghost Chart, Black Coffin. Pai Pai formed a seal with both hands and a huge amount of battle energy spread out from his body. Bao Pa smiled as he looked at Pai Pai. However, at this moment, a black shadow appeared around Bao Pa and sealed him. With the speed of Pai Pai's hand seals, the black shadow quickly formed and sealed Bao Pa in an instant. A huge coffin floated in the air, forming a strange scene. Your son is not bad. He even learned the black coffin. Bao Xi was a little surprised. This black coffin could only be controlled by a 5th grade dozun. Otherwise it wouldn't even be formed. Nonsense. Do you think my son is playing around? Pai Liangjun said with disdain. Actually, he was also surprised. When did his third brother learn this move? It was very illogical. The 4 people watching from the side felt the same. Third brother, not bad. You even managed to create a black coffin. You hit it very well. Pai Guanghui said softly, his eyes filled with surprise. Third brother is very shrewd. It's not like you don't know. Pai Qing said indifferently. The 2 Kong brothers didn't say anything. If they were the ones on the arena, they would probably lose. When did this Pai Pai refine a black coffin? It was too much to criticize. Qi Shuwen looked at the black coffin with curiosity. He had long heard that Watertown's Heaven Sealing Ghost Chart was powerful. Seeing it today, it was indeed worthy of its reputation. When the time comes, he could also learn this Heaven Sealing Ghost Chart. After all, this chart was only provided to the 3 great clans. This was also one of the reasons why he wanted to become a son-in-law. The Heaven Sealing Ghost Chart was really fascinating. Suddenly, a clear sound rang out. A finger appeared on the black coffin and pierced through it. Chapter 903. This clear and crisp sound seemed to stab into everyone's heart. Everyone knew very well what this black coffin represented. But now it had been pierced by a finger. How was this possible? Pai Pai, I really didn't expect that you even managed to successfully cultivate the black coffin, and you even used the strength of a 2nd rank. What a pity. This black coffin can only unleash 20% of its strength. You are just drawing a calabash, that's all. After Bao Po's words stopped, Bao Pa could be seen using one of his hands to slap the black coffin, and the black coffin turned into black stars and disappeared. Pai Pai's heart sank. He did not expect that it would still not work. He had forcibly released the black coffin, but it had not reached that level of power. Just as Bao Pa had said, it was just a drawing of a gourd. But even if it was just a drawing, Bao Pa was actually quite surprised. Do you think you can draw this black coffin just like that? If you don't have the least bit of talent, how can you do such a thing? Leather's potential was much greater than that of his 2 brothers. At this moment, Bao Xi smiled and said, what a pity this black coffin still can't hurt my père. Can your lousy son release the black coffin at the 2nd grade? Pai Liangjun emphasized the word, lousy. Just like your lousy son. At this time, Kong Feiqing said something fair. Actually, Pai Pai being able to unleash a move like black coffin at the 2nd level already means that he has a lot of potential. House Leader Pai, please take good care of him. He'll become someone great in the future. Pai Liangjun also smiled and said, the 2 young masters of Clan Head Kong are not bad either. Bao Xi snorted. Not bad, my ass. The 5 women also felt sorry for Pippi. In fact, they felt that Pippi was a good person. At least he helped them. Although he couldn't resist the temptation in the end and did something bad, he was instigated by someone else. Therefore, the 5 women still hoped that Leather could win. After all, it was meaningless to stand up in a one-sided battle. But from the looks of it, this Bao Pa was even more powerful. If Pai Pai didn't have a trump card, he would be in danger. At this moment, Bao Pa said lightly, Pai Pai, just admit defeat. There won't be any results if you keep fighting like this. Bullsh*T. Stubborn fool. Then let me show you what a real black coffin is. After saying that, Bao Pa quickly formed a black void around Pai Pai. His speed was even faster than Pai Pai's. Heavenly Sealing Ghost Chart, Black Coffin. Bao Pa angrily shouted, completing the final hand seal. Looking at Bao Po's black coffin, it gave off a thick deathly aura. Whether it was color or luster, it was definitely more amazing than the black coffin from before. Even their size had to be bigger. Hurry up and tell your son to admit defeat. Otherwise he's going to die, Kong Feiqing hurriedly said. This black coffin was not a joke. If it was sealed for too long it would cause death. Pai Liangjun clenched his fists tightly. Asking his son to admit defeat? Wouldn't that be asking the entire house Pai to surrender? Bao Xi smiled but did not say anything. Beg me then. If you beg me I will release your son. Looking at the lifeless black coffin, Pai Liangjun's face darkened. Third bro. Fight for your father's honor. The entire scene quieted down. Everyone stared at the floating coffin, wondering if House Pai's third brother would be able to escape. If he broke free it would be a slap to his face. If he couldn't break free then House Pai would lose face today. Although Pai Cheng and Pai Guanghui were separated from their third brother, at this moment, they still revealed a worried expression. After all, they were brothers. It was fine if they quarreled internally, but when they were outside they had to be united against external enemies. Third bro. Do your best. The two brothers shouted in their hearts. Qing Yutong was also anxious. Didn't you know how to use your brain? You even kneeled down to Yang Haoyan before, now you should also kneel down and listen to your father. As time passed, everyone sighed. This Pai would rather die than surrender. As expected, he is a man. Of course, Baopa did not want to kill Pai, after all it was not good. But just now his father told him not to break free, so he could only wait. Bao Xi silently waited for Pai Liangjun to come and beg for mercy. Pai Liangjun was already running out of patience. The more time passed, the more dangerous his third brother would be. I can't wait any longer. Pai Liangjun looked towards Bao Xi. Bao Xi did not even look at him and pretended to look at the scene. However, Pai Liangjun's hands began to slowly raise as if he wanted to cup his hands. But when his hands were raised in midair, a voice rang out. This caused Pai Liangjun's heart to sink. This also caused Bao Xi to be shocked. How is this possible? Heavenly Sealing Ghost Chart, Anatta. A strange voice rang out from within the black coffin. This caused everyone's expression to change. Even the three old men were the same, and in their minds the word lunatic appeared. Even if you beat Baopa to death, this Pai actually dared to use Anatta. This is something that only a 9th rank Dozun can release. This fellow has surpassed his rank again. Does he not know the price of using Anatta? Could it be that you have a grudge against me for killing your father? Or is it because you stole my wife? You must be sick. Pai Cheng and Pai Guanghui had stupefied expressions on their faces. Third brother's performance today simply caused everyone to be dumbstruck, unimaginable. Looking at the Kong brothers at the side, they were the same as well. Do you really have a grudge against Baopa for you to actually use an atta? My god, you are truly crazy. This move seems to be very powerful. Kai Yun suddenly laughed and said. He could feel that the aura within the black coffin was gradually rising, and it was very powerful. Yizizi also withdrew her smile and said in a low voice, indeed, this whatever an atta is very powerful. Brett's gaze gradually sunk. This kind of skill is very powerful, and it can even be compared with my own. This water city is really a pleasant surprise. Prehistoric divine beast, prehistoric ferocious beast, Tian class skill, it is still quite powerful. We have to re-evaluate the strength of this water city. Qing Yutong said in a deep voice. If even a Pai could use an atta, then what kind of situation would it be like for 3 Jizun to use an atta? Furthermore, under the situation of using an atta, would it still be possible to superimpose other skills? At this moment, Qi Shuwen asked curiously, Sharky, does this Anatta have any side effects? Abeo Yuyu nodded his head. Heavenly Sealing Ghost Chart, Anatta. It requires a 9th rank Dozun to activate. Once the skill is activated, one's strength will rise exponentially. I have never seen it that strong. This is the first time I have seen someone use an atta, and the side effect is to drop 1 rank. Now, Pai is a 2nd rank Dozun. After using it he will be a 1st rank Dozun. Speaking until this point, Abeo Yuyu sighed softly. This Pai is really stupid. He wants to save face and suffer. It is obvious that he cannot defeat my brother, yet he insists on using an atta to fight my brother. Qi Shuwen knocked Abeo Yuyu's pink forehead. Are you stupid? He also wants to force your brother to use an atta, intending to injure both sides. Chapter 904. Qi Shuwen smiled. What was there to be shameless about? What he did just now was shameless. This was a fight after all. It was a competition of a man's dignity. It could only be said that House Pai's third son wanted his face a lot, but he was suffering. Winning would bring glory to his face, but his strength would drop by one level. Was it really worth it? Maybe to Qi Shuwen it wasn't worth it, but to Pai Pai, this represented the house master's dignity, and also his own glory. Even if he had to sacrifice his life, he wouldn't hesitate. If a person didn't have faith, he would be no different from a salted fish. This was the first time Pai Pai used an ata in the black coffin. He felt like his entire body was filled with strength. As his strength increased, Pai Pai felt like he could even smash the sky. This was a feeling he had never felt before. It was like he had control over everything. As for how strong he was, Pai Pai didn't feel it anymore. He just felt like he could kill this trash Bao Pa now. Suddenly, Pai Pai raised the sword in his hand, raised it up high, and then slashed down. A crescent-shaped black light emitted from the sword. The black coffin couldn't withstand it at all and instantly disintegrated. Seeing such a scene, everyone was dumbfounded. The leather in the black coffin had actually directly cut open the black coffin. What kind of strength did he need? Bao Pa was shocked as well. Especially that terrifying black sword energy, it was filled with a strange aura. At this moment, Bao Pa had no choice but to take out his weapon. It was also a long sword. When the long sword flashed, a majestic aura suddenly swept out. The body of the sword was emitting specks of starlight. It looked very ordinary, but when it first appeared, it was obvious. This was a prehistoric godly weapon. 7 ministers. Although it was a prehistoric godly weapon, it was still divided into different grades. After all, not every prehistoric godly weapon that was created was godly. According to this standard, the sword in Bao Po's hand was a 3rd-grade prehistoric godly weapon. But even the worst prehistoric godly weapon was still a godly weapon that people would fight over. After all, it was too rare. When the 7 ministers appeared, Qing Yutong and the others were slightly dazed. I didn't expect that there would even be a prehistoric godly weapon, Brett said indifferently, but he didn't put it in his eyes at all because it was trash. Qing Yutong smiled. It is indeed a bit surprising. The guards standing around had a puzzled look on their faces. Were these 5 women crazy? It seemed that she had already hinted at her own outcome. It was a pity that such a beautiful woman had turned into a lunatic. Pai Liangjun lost his composure and said in a deep voice, "You even gave me the great desolate era's divine weapon break? Son. So what? If I didn't give my son to you, who would?" Bao Ci said calmly. "Are you guys stupid? Do you dare to give your son a primordial divine weapon? You can't bear to part with it, can you?" At this moment, Kong Feiqing spoke in a faint voice. "Even with a chaos divine weapon, it is unlikely that your broken son can win. This leather likely possesses the strength of a peak Do Zun." Bao Ci snorted lightly. "So what? This isn't his true strength. He will still suffer from the backlash. The gains do not make up for the losses. As for my Pe'er, with the help of the ancient divine weapon, he can still win." Pai Liangjun chuckled. Duck. Pai Liangjun took a deep breath as he stared at OL3. Now that he had used Selfless, there was no turning back. Fight hard for House Pai. Qi Shuwen also looked at the 7 ministers with envy. This chaos divine weapon really made people envious. It wasn't just Qi Shuwen who envied it, everyone was envious. This was a chaos divine weapon. Holding it in one's hand was a symbol of strength. It was said that a powerless person could kill a Do Wang with a chaos divine weapon. Do you also have a chaos divine weapon?" Qi Shuwen asked curiously. If his son had one, then his most beloved daughter should have one too. Yu didn't hide it and said softly, "I do, but I have no use for it. I'll give it to you, okay?" Qi Shuwen was overjoyed. He almost said yes, but he quickly stopped. "How can that be? This is your thing. You have to take good care of it." Qi Shuwen said in a deep voice as if he didn't want it. "Husband, we are husband and wife. Isn't my thing yours? I don't need it anyway. It's better for you to use it." Yu said happily. Qi Shuwen said sternly, "Am I that kind of person? Don't say such things again. Otherwise I will get angry." Although he said that, he was thinking in his heart, if you say a few more words I will reluctantly agree. Hurry up, Moto. Okay then husband, you have to work hard in the future." Qi Shuwen was speechless. Qi Shuwen wanted to slap himself. Who asked you to act cool? Now he didn't want a chaos divine weapon that was delivered to his door. He was such an idiot. Of course I have to rely on my own strength. Qi Shuwen clenched his fists and said. He was a man who worked hard. Looking at Qi Shuwen's hard work, Yu Yu was very happy. His fighting spirit was not bad. So she shyly kissed him and immediately hid in Qi Shuwen's chest, not daring to look at him. Qi Shuwen wanted to die. He could have gotten a Chaos Divine weapon, but he got a kiss in exchange. What a loss. Bao Pa, who took out the Chaos Divine weapon, had his confidence greatly boosted. Looking at the crescent of black light that was coming towards him, Bao Pa immediately slashed out with his sword. As expected of a Chaos Divine weapon, the crescent of black light disappeared without a trace, as if the crescent of black light had never appeared in the first place. Bao Pa had a smile of disdain on his face, seemingly feeling that Pai Pai was still unable to withstand a single blow. Following the dissipation of the black coffin, Pai Pai's figure finally appeared. Everyone was shocked by Pai Pai's outfit. Leather's silver armor had turned black. Even the blade of the sword had turned black. However, on top of the black armor, there seemed to be some kind of black flame burning, causing everyone to shiver. Looking at Pai Pai's appearance, Bao Po's mind was filled with question marks. Is this the appearance of an Ata? Kai Yun cried out in surprise, so handsome, indeed very handsome. Even Yu Hua nodded her head. This proved that Pai Pai was indeed very handsome. This was the truth. Pai Pai was just like a dark character, filled with mystery and killing intent. Especially the black flame that was emitting from his body, it added a kind of oppressive atmosphere. An Ata looks like this? Even Kong Feiqing was puzzled. Pai Liang Jun didn't know either. In actuality, Bao Pa didn't know either. After all, who would use an Ata for fun? Unless it was when one's life was in danger, and the peace in Water City had already lasted for a very long time, therefore no one would use an Ata. Being able to break open my black coffin, and even being able to force me to take out my 7 ministers, you can already be considered to have one. Bao politely waved the 7 ministers in his hand, and a terrifying aura rippled out. Chapter 905. Leather looked at Bao Pa and said faintly, I don't know who was the one who said that he wouldn't use a weapon, but right now he actually used a weapon. Hee. Bao Po's face stiffened as if he had been slapped in the face. That's also my fault. I forced you to use nothing, so I had no choice but to use my weapon. The meaning of Bao Po's words was very clear. You were forced by me, so you are a defeated opponent. Moreover, you used cheating methods to increase your strength. Moreover, even if you use selfless, you still won't be a match for me. It's just a matter of a light slash. Bao Pa continued. He even waved the 7 ministers in his hand, releasing bits of starlight. Pippi chuckled and said, You seem to have misunderstood something. It was just a light strike. Just as he finished speaking, Pai Pai's body seemed to have been frozen in place, not moving an inch. Bao Pa was startled, and a sense of danger appeared behind him. With a backhand slash. The tips of the 2 swords came into contact with each other, instantly stirring up a terrifying wave of air. Pai Pai was now very clear of his advantage. He circulated his Do Chi with all his might, and a wave of black Do Chi erupted from his body. Bao Pa also knew his opponent's intention. A battle of battle Chi. Bao Pa furiously shouted, and white Do Chi spread out from his body. A black and a white Do Chi immediately formed, creating a huge whirlpool. That terrifying atmosphere infected everyone. It was so terrifying. Leather relied on his improved strength. As for Bao Pa, he relied on the primordial divine artifact in his hand. The 2 of them were actually equally matched. From this, one could see the importance of possessing a great desolate era divine weapon. Pai Pai, I told you you are not my opponent. Bao Pa still had the time to say that, indicating that his foundation was really strong. Bao Pa, don't underestimate me. Pai Pai angrily shouted. The black light on his body flourished, the majestic aura became even more abnormal. There was still a difference between the peak of the Dozun class and a grade 8 Dozun. Moreover, the difference was not just a little big. After all, at this level, every grade was like a ravine. If not for the primordial divine weapon, Bao Pa would have been defeated long ago. The blackened skin was not to be underestimated. Beads of sweat appeared on Bao Pa's forehead. This Anata was actually so abnormal. This leather was probably half a step into the ranks of supreme beings. They were commonly known as pseudo-supremes. The black Do Chi was getting stronger and stronger, while the white Do Chi was getting smaller and smaller. It was not as dazzling as it was at the beginning. Faced with such a situation, the audience was also dumbfounded. He didn't think that House Pai's 3rd brother would be able to beat Bao Pa. Although he used a martial art, it was still very strong. It was rare to see someone stronger than him. That's rubbish. My son can't take it anymore. Pai Liangjun was very happy now. He could finally give this old fart a blow. Bao Xi's chest heaved up and down. It seemed like he was in a bad mood. He had underestimated the power of Anatta. Kong Feiqing said lightly, now if your son wants to win, I'm afraid he can only use Anatta. Bao Xi was speechless. If Pear's prehistoric artifact was a bit better, even if it was just a bit better, he would have definitely won this time. However, the grade of this prehistoric artifact was a bit inferior, and that leather weapon of Pear's wasn't bad either. Adding on the fact that Pear's strength was doubled, Per was actually able to restrain Per. Therefore what Kong Feiqing said wasn't unreasonable. If Per didn't use an atta, he would probably lose. The look in Bao Po's eyes became more and more horrified. The strength of the opponent was still growing as if it could never be stopped. Was this the power of an atta? It is very powerful. Bapa. It is still not too late for you to admit defeat now so that you don't have to suffer. Pai Pa used the same words to counterattack Bao Pa. Don't think that just because you are powerful that no one can defeat you. I, Pai Pa, am one of them. Bao Po's entire body felt unwell. Perhaps it was because he was angered by Pai Po's words, his aura immediately became chaotic. Sensing that Bao Po was becoming unstable, Pai Pa shouted out furiously, and his strength grew once again. The black dookie instantly swallowed the white dookie. A huge wave was set off in the surroundings, and that terrifying pressure caused everyone to feel like vomiting. That rubbish of yours lost. Seeing this scene, Pai Liangjun laughed loudly and said, What rubbish? Son, count yourself as a hammer. Bao Xi said faintly, It is still too early to say right now. Right now Bao Po was in a bit of a sorry state. He was gasping for breath while holding on to Qiqing. Meanwhile, Pai Pa held onto his sword and slowly walked towards Bao Pa. Pai Pa seemed to be asking, Where is your aura? Didn't you want to defeat me? Didn't you want to make a fool of me? Pai Pa, you have really made me look at you in a different light. Bao Pa straightened his back and coldly looked at Pai Pa. If he did not have killing intent at the start, then he did now. To actually make him lose face in front of so many people. His father was still watching from above, and that trashy brother-in-law was probably still laughing in his heart. Unable to defeat him even with an ancient divine weapon, what a noob. Hee Bao Pa, I will give you one chance. If you admit defeat now, I will spare your life. Pai Pa said indifferently. Using the same words, he was also telling Bao Pa not to underestimate anyone. Of course, only when he was in a desperate situation would he be able to unleash his great strength. Bao Pa laughed loudly, You want me to admit defeat? Pai Pa, you are probably dreaming. Is that so? Don't you feel that your body is a little strange? Pai Pa suddenly asked. Bao Po's expression froze. He indeed felt that his body was a little stiff. You poisoned me. A wound appeared on Bao Po's right shoulder. Although it was not deep, it still cut him. Pai Pa waved the blade in his hand, but it was not as strange as young Haotian. He licked it. Indeed, I poisoned you a little. It is enough to make you hesitate for a moment. So, Bao Pa, this time you will lose for sure. After saying that, Pai Pa placed his sword horizontally in front of his chest. The entire black sword floated in the air. Green jade killing intent. Pai Pa spread his arms, and the sword in front of his chest immediately flew to the top of Pai Po's head, turning into more than 10 flashing black swords. The tips of the swords were aimed at Bao Pa. But Bao Pa still seemed to be struggling. His face gradually revealed fear. Pai Pa, you dare. Bao Pa, this is the deep sea arena. Leave it to fate. Pai Pa said in a low voice. The sharp sword above his head was already itching to pierce through his opponent's chest, emitting a strange black light. Killing intent appear. Pai Pa did not seem to give Bao Pa the slightest chance. With an angry shout, more than 10 sharp swords with a terrifying aura attacked. Facing such a situation, everyone was a little dumbfounded. This did not seem like a normal martial arts competition. This was simply a slaughter. What kind of deep hatred do you have? Is there a need to do this? Pai Liangjun, you shameless bastard. Not only did you smear poison on your sword, you actually told your son to smear poison. Bao Xi immediately scolded. All is fair in war. Don't you understand? Pai Liangjun said disdainfully. So what if he smeared poison? Wasn't this very normal? After saying that, Pai Liangjun did not speak anymore. He wanted to see how long Bao Xi could wait. Chapter 906. Bao Xi seemed to have understood what Pai Liangjun meant. Pai Liangjun wanted Bao Xi to apologize to Bao Xi. As expected, he is shameless. However, Bao Xi believed in his son. After all, he knew his son's capabilities. This kind of situation is indeed very troublesome, but my son should be able to handle it. He definitely can. Bao Pe, who was in a stiff state, looked at the tens of swords that were flying towards him, and he was making a decision in his mind. In 0.1 seconds, Bao Pe had already made up his mind, and he shouted out angrily, "Heavenly Sealing Ghost Chart, Anut." After Bao Pe said that, everyone was shocked once again. They didn't expect that even Bao Pe would use Anata. Are the two of you crazy? Is there a need to fight like this? Isn't this a lose-lose situation? After all, Bao Pe was currently a rank 8 Dozun. After using an Ata, he would become a rank 7 Dozun, and going from rank 7 to rank 8 was not as simple as going from rank 1 to rank 2, the experience value required was quite a lot. Therefore Bao Pe suffered even more, but what else could he do? He was already forced into a desperate situation. If he didn't use an Ata, he would definitely be heavily injured. If he did that, he would definitely be heavily injured. There was no way he could win. The two of you are crazy. Kong Feiqing laughed lightly. To actually use an Ata as a side dish, is there a need for this? We are all from Water City, how are we going to meet in the future? Right now, Bao Xi's expression was very ugly. He felt that it was not worth it for Po to use an Ata, and that Pai Liangjun was only rank 2, even if it dropped to rank 1, it would still be acceptable, and it would be easy for him to cultivate again. But my son, this damn Pai Liangjun, he is definitely the one who instigated my son to do this. Bastard. Yi Zizi sighed lightly. I originally thought that I would be able to make a comeback, but I didn't expect that. I still didn't succeed. That might not be the case. Everyone has to have hope. If there is no hope, what difference is there between a person and a salted fish? Kai Yun smiled sweetly, giving off a very pure feeling as if he could easily swindle someone. Qing Yutong and Brett smiled bitterly and shook their heads. Salted fish is his honor's catchphrase, calling others salted fish for no reason. Even if they make a comeback, they will still be salted fish. Pai Ching and the others who were watching the battle at the side were also extremely shocked. This battle seemed to have already surpassed their imagination. This third brother of his was simply too good at hiding, pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. He actually forced Bao Pe to use an Ata. This was already considered a win. There was nothing more to say. Kong Hong and Kong Tai's expressions sank as they realized the gap between them and the others. They decided to cultivate properly in the future and try to catch up. If the others could force Bao Pe to use an Ata, they had to be ruthless. Seeing that Bao Pe had also used the selfless body, the corners of Leather's mouth curled up, finally unable to hold back. In that case, even if he lost this time, it would be a glorious defeat. He had forced him to take out the Chaos Divine Weapon and had even forced him to use the Selfless Divine Weapon. It was a huge gain for him and a huge loss for him. Bao Pe used Selfless and a huge vortex surged out from his body. The dozen or so black blades didn't even manage to pierce through the vortex before they were scattered. It was clear how terrifying this vortex was. However, this was nothing. Bao Pe, who was in the whirlpool, was emitting a frightening aura. He, who was originally a grade 8 Dozun, had instantly reached the peak of the Dozun class. His strength was still continuously rising. Kong Feiqing said in a deep voice, "This? I'm afraid that he will reach Shizun." Pai Liangjun did not speak. Third brother had used the selfless body, and his strength was already half a Shizun. As for the grade 8 Bao Pe, his strength would definitely break through the Dozun class and reach the ranks of Shizun. Third brother would definitely not be able to defeat Bao Pe, but he wouldn't lose out either. Bao Xi did not speak now. He seemed to have shut himself up because even if his son won, it would still be a huge loss. Bang! A deep sound resounded through the bottom of the sea. The huge vortex instantly disappeared, and the person who appeared in front of everyone was still Bao Pe. However, his entire body had turned black and he was exactly the same as Leather. The 7 ministers that were originally flashing with the brilliance of stars had also turned black, and he looked extremely terrifying. The main point was the current Bao Pe did not emit any aura at all, and he was just like an ordinary person. Shizun. Qing Yutong smiled slightly. That's right, this chi method is too awesome. Even Kai Yin said that this chi method was awesome, then it was definitely awesome. Brett did not refute. He even nodded his head. This chi method was indeed awesome. The guards beside them basically did not hear what they were talking about, as everyone's attention was attracted by Bao Pe, who was in the middle of the battlefield. Qi Shuwen was the same as well. This chi method is practically an instant Jizun. This kind of chi method is simply too abnormal. Big Brother is truly formidable. Although Bao Yuyu said that, she was still very worried in her heart. Qi Shuwen did not speak. This kind of high-intensity showdown caused him to see a lot of things and a lot of helplessness. Just like the North and South martial arts competition back then, I could only sit at the side and watch, and it was no different from now. The showdown between experts seemed to have nothing to do with me, and I also seemed to be unable to interfere in this kind of showdown. I will forever be a bystander. I have been like this since the very beginning. Then why did the heavens give me a system? Then don't give it to me. You want me to give it to an ordinary person? Since you gave me hope, you want to destroy my hope. I, Qi Shuwen, do not want to be a side character. I, Qi Shuwen, am fated to be the main character. On the battlefield, Leather's aura was still as strong as before, and Baope appeared to be very at ease. This is Jizun. He is no different from an ordinary person. Baope also felt his own strength as if he could tear the sky apart. This kind of feeling is indescribable, very satisfying. So this is how Jizun feels. I have finally experienced it today. It will also be helpful for my future cultivation. It can be considered as a great fortune and misfortune. This Leather in front of me, I can destroy him with a single finger. Baope, you still used Anata. Leather said indifferently. From that posture, it seems like he doesn't want to fight anymore. Baope said in a low voice, Leather, it's all because you forced me, so you have to pay the price. After saying that, he slashed out with his sword. Only to see a deathly black light attack towards Leather. That terrifying pressure is definitely not something that Leather can block. Jizun and half a Jizun, the difference is like heaven and earth. But Leather doesn't believe this. The sword in his hand also emitted a black light. Bang! The entire sea region trembled, the magma below started to boil. This caused the three old men to frown. A terrifying wave of air rushed towards the spectator stands. Bao Ci waved his hand. A barrier immediately cut off this wave of air, to prevent people from getting hurt. Bao Po's figure stood steadily, but Leather's body actually flew backwards, smashing into a seamount, the entire seamount shattering. That clash of sword energy just now was simply a merciless suppression. Without any suspense, Leather was sent flying by the sword. He is probably heavily injured now. Everyone's jaws dropped slightly. This is a Jizun. A powerful Jizun. Chapter 907. Sigh. Qing Yutong let out a light sigh. It's over. It's over. Yu Hua muttered, there's no chance of a comeback in this kind of situation. Right now, although Bao Ci was not happy, he had no other choice. Therefore he still had to say what should be said. Forcing my Po to flip out, sigh. When Pai Liangjun saw that Baope used an ata, he more or less knew the result, so he didn't want to say anything. Right now, it's fine for third brother to admit defeat. There's no need to continue fighting. He has already proven himself. However, Pai originally thought so too, but now he didn't think so anymore. A pitch-black figure could be seen scuttling out from the ruins and appearing not far away from Baope. The black armor on Pai's body was broken, his shoulder guard was gone, and his chest was completely shattered. Although he was able to withstand such an attack, his entire body didn't feel that good. Pai, I didn't expect you to still be able to stand up. I have a whole new level of respect for you. If Baope wasn't angry, it would be a lie. Pai wiped off the bloodstain on the corner of his mouth and said with a smile, Baope, if I can also become an overlord, it's hard to say who will win. Pai, seems like you still want to continue fighting? Nonsense, I have already used Anata. How can I not continue fighting? Pai raised his hand and pointed his sword at Baope. The 7 ministers in Baope's hand immediately shot out black light, and a terrifying aura began to gradually condense. Pai, I will ask you one last time. Are you going to fight or not? Fight. Pai shouted out angrily, and a powerful Duki burst out from his body. The two immediately formed a clear contrast. Baope's Duki was clearly much stronger. Don't blame me then. Baope immediately rushed forward, and Pai's gaze focused and began blocking Baope's attack. Boom boom boom. Rings of light exploded at the bottom of the sea. It was extremely terrifying. Pai was forced to retreat step by step, and Baope was getting more and more courageous. The outcome of the battle was already very obvious. But even so, Pai still didn't retreat, even though his body was already covered with bloodstains. This kind of state made everyone admire him. This is what a real man is like. Just like that son-in-law of Bao family, he is simply trash. Qi Shuwen also wanted to be a man for once, but he didn't have the courage that Pai had. In the field, the two of them separated again. Baope seemed very indifferent. Leather was already gasping for breath. His body was covered in sword wounds, and the sword in his hand had been dented and was on the verge of breaking. Actually, this was the result of Baopa going easy on him. If he didn't go easy on him, he would definitely have to leave. Leather, that's enough, Baopa said calmly. After all, he had watched him grow up. How could he kill him? There was no enmity between them. Pai Pai took a deep breath, then threw away the sword in his hand. The sharp sword fell directly into the magma and disappeared in an instant. But Leatherface put his palms together. Pah! A huge sound wave spread out. As he put his palms together, everyone felt a different aura. Even Yi Zizi began to frown. This water city is indeed powerful. Its cultivation method is impressive, Yu Hua said softly. However, the three old men were no longer calm. They set up a barrier to protect the citizens. Your third bro simply doesn't want to live anymore, Kong Fei Ching said in a deep voice. Pai Liangjuan's expression sank as he let out a small sigh. Your third bro is indeed powerful. Bao Xi couldn't help but praise Leather. This is what a real man should be like. Sigh. In the field, Leather muttered to himself. The belated water god's whirlpool. Following this sentence, the seawater began trembling. Decaying sea of sand bones appear. Following this sentence, the skeletons that were buried at the bottom of the sea began to move slightly. Lowly life shine once again. Heavenly ceiling ghost chart, bone official. Boom boom boom. Loud sounds rang out from the bottom of the sea, and countless skeletons floated up. There were weak fishes and there were also strong fishes. All of the skeletons rushed towards Leather. During the entire process, the skeletons gradually gathered together and formed into a huge skeletons. That astonishing aura. It actually reached the level of Overlord. That was way too awesome. Even Kai Yun was a bit dazed. If I were to learn this technique, that would simply be heaven-defying. Even Qing Yutong was a bit envious of this technique. It is simply too overpowered. This rank 2 Dozun directly reached half-step Dozun, and he even managed to summon an Overlord creature. If the people of this water city were to go out, wouldn't the world be turned upside down? A bonefish that was formed from skeletons roared furiously. Looking at how those three ancient divine beasts revealed their battle intent, it could be seen how powerful this bonefish was. Leather, you are truly powerful. You even know how to use the bone official. As long as one is willing to learn, there is nothing that one cannot learn, Leather said in a deep voice. This was his final trump card. If he still couldn't defeat Baopo with this, then there would be no hope. You are right, as long as one is willing to learn, Leather, I should be able to learn more than you. Baopa kept his 7 ministers and said faintly, since you like to play with the heavenly ceiling ghost chart, then I will play with you till the end. Baopa also placed his hands together. Bang! The wave that was created caused everyone's scalp to go numb. Luckily, there was a barrier protecting them, if not everyone would have died. Dusty Water God. Hearing these words, the expressions of the three old men changed greatly. Crazy. Kong Feiqing shouted in a deep voice. Pai Liangjun did not hesitate at all and was about to charge forward on his prairie-blazing warhorse. However, Bao Xi's figure immediately stopped him. Get out of my way. Bao Xi said in a deep voice, you should know. If you stop my pair, he will suffer a backlash. So what? Bao Xi's expression turned cold. So what? Your son is a life, so is my son not a life. This is all your third son's fault. How many times have I told him to stop? Your son just won't listen. Even used the bone official. Brother Pai, I want to say something fair about this matter. You really can't interrupt them now. Kong Feiqing said in a deep voice, standing beside Bao Xi. Fine. You two can do it. If anything happens to my third son, I will kill your entire family. Pai Liangjun could no longer maintain his calm. After all, his son's life was now in danger. Kai Yun said in a low voice, look at those three old men, they are quarreling. Ah, this is great. Yi Zizi clapped her small hands and said excitedly. Qing Yutong laughed tenderly. She felt that everything was within her grasp, and there was not the slightest bit of deviation. They were fighting to the death and she did not do anything. However, Baopa continued to shout, clear water covers the ocean, man controls life and death. Heavenly ceiling ghost chart, water screen. Above the bonefish's head, a terrifying aura suddenly condensed, and a water fist was gradually forming. That huge pressure actually caused the bonefish to be unable to move, let alone its skin. This was a water screen released by Jizun. The degree of terror was already incomparable. Chapter 908. The terrifying water fist brought with it an immense pressure as it descended. The surrounding seawater was actually emptied. Boom. The water fist landed heavily on Yugu's body. Yugu, who was already a supreme martial artist, actually couldn't withstand it, and his whole body suddenly fell down. However, the skin was just below the fish bones and the whole person was brought down by the fish bones. But what was below? Lava. Magma that could melt anything. This left everyone dumbstruck. Even the three old men were dumbfounded, unable to react in time. However, just like that, he lost his last chance to save them. After all, this was a cultivation technique that was released by a Jizun. If he lost this opportunity, then it would be gone forever. Third brother. Pai Liangjun's figure instantly disappeared from the prairie-blazing war horse. However, he was still a beat too late. Puff. The water fist brought the fish bones and skin into the magma, while Pai Liangjun stood above the magma, stretched out his hand, and watched his son fall into the magma. His entire body froze. No one had expected such a sudden situation. Even Bao Pa didn't expect it, because it was also his first time using the water screen. This was truly an accident. But even if it was an accident, Bao Pa still accidentally killed Pippi. Bao Ci rushed to his son's side, while Kong Feiqing stood beside Pai Liangjun to prevent him from going berserk. Pai Cheng and Pai Guanghui stared blankly at the boiling lava, their minds blank. No matter how bad their relationship was, how could they accept the fact that their brother had died in front of them? Kong Hong and Kong Tai were also very surprised. It was too sudden, so sudden that no one could react. Looking at the dumbfounded audience, the bottom of the sea was calm. Qing Yutong and the others were also a little surprised. This water screen actually blasted Jizun's bonefish down, and it even brought along its skin. This Pai Pai was a good person. When she was acting on the ship, he helped her. Although the process was a little awkward, at least he appeared. My intention was good, although I changed my mind in the end, but you're still a good person. Under such a terrifying water screen, the skin was basically unable to move at all, and could only be taken off by the bonefish without any means to save itself. At this moment, Abalone was also stunned. She was so scared that her face turned pale. However, Qi Shuwen didn't. After all, they had never come into contact with each other before. They were even cursing each other just now. It would be good if he died. No. It's good that they're dead. Let's fight. It's best if we kill them all. I curse you. Pai Pai. Pai Liangjun, who had lost his beloved son, was infuriated. The aura of a sovereign burst forth, which was much stronger than Bao Po's. The entire magma seemed to be able to sense Pai Liangjun's anger, turning from gold to blood red, as if Pai Liangjun's blood had dyed the magma red. Pai Cheng and Pai Guanghui instantly appeared in front of their father, glaring angrily at the Bao father and son. Bao Ci and Bao Pa looked at the three from House Pai, their expressions a little unnatural. Brother Pai, please calm down. Go to hell and calm down. Bao Pa, give me back my son's life. Pai Liangjun furiously shouted and punched towards Bao Pa. Bao Ci narrowed his eyes and stood in front of his son. Pai Liangjun, you're being unreasonable. You killed my son, and you want me to reason with you? I'll kill your son first. Are you crazy? Let's not talk about the risks in the deep sea arena. My Per told your son to admit defeat, but your son didn't listen, causing such a result. Who's at fault? Everyone can be the judge. Bao Ci directly punched out. When the fists of the two supreme martial artists collided, the entire surface of the ocean trembled, and cracks even appeared on the surface of the ocean. However, on the surface of the Sea of Innocence, a gigantic tsunami actually appeared. The tsunami's height had already reached a few hundred meters, and it was currently heading towards the coastal area. This was something that no one expected. If a tsunami like this were to land on the coastal area, it would definitely be a devastating disaster. Right now, the situation at the bottom of the ocean wasn't looking good either. The two supreme martial artists started fighting, and Kong Feiqing couldn't do anything about it. One of his sons died, how could he not be angry? However, the spectators could only watch the fight between the supreme martial artists. Although they couldn't see the fight clearly, it was still very satisfying. Pai Liangjun, that's enough. Bao Ci shouted coldly. I'm going to kill you today. Did you forget what we came here to do today? Bao Ci said in a low voice. After hearing what Bao Ci said, Pai Liangjun paused for a moment and clenched his fists tightly. After today's matter is over, we'll talk about this matter again. How about it? Go to hell. Pai Liangjun still chose to take revenge for his son. Whatever, Seal, I don't care about it anymore. Kong Feiqing took a deep breath, then said towards his two sons, "You two quickly go back. Don't stay here anymore." "Father?" "Quickly go back." Kong Hong and Kong Tai took a look at the five beauties and seemed to be a bit unwilling to give up. Kong Feiqing nearly exploded from anger. "Look at what time it is already and you two are still thinking about beauties. Can you two grow up? Look at that guy's skin, he has great talent but he still died in the end." Scram. Yes. Kong Hong and Kong Tai could only leave. Father definitely has something to do. Looking at the boiling magma, Kong Feiqing felt a bit uneasy. However, just when this thought appeared in his mind, the boiling of the magma became even more intense, and an overflowing aura gushed out crazily. Pai Liangjun and Bao Xi, who were fighting, stopped and looked at the magma beneath their feet. Even the spectators looked towards the magma, and their hearts were filled with curiosity. What is going on? After being quiet for so many years, why did the magma suddenly start boiling today? "Father, just what is going on?" Bao Pa came to his father's side and asked in a low voice. Quickly leave with Sharky." "Father, you have to tell me what is going on, right?" Bao Pa said solemnly. Looking at the magma, Bao Xi took a deep breath. "This is the seal that our ancestor left behind." Old ancestor again. Who exactly was their old ancestor? What is down there, to actually be able to survive in the magma? Hearing his father's words, Bao Pa was a bit absent-minded. "This is an extremely dangerous creature. If we use it well, it will be our family's treasure. If we don't use it well, the consequences will be unimaginable." "Father, what is it called?" "Abyssal wave." Right after Bao Xi finished speaking, a furious roar actually came out from within the magma. The roar seemed to be carrying unwillingness and humiliation, and then, it was about to appear and destroy everyone. "Quickly! Bring Sharky and leave!" Bao Xi shouted. Bao Pa was unwilling to delay and hurriedly flew towards his little sister. "Qi Shuwen, quickly leave with Sharky!" Bao Pa shouted towards his brother-in-law. "Big brother, did something happen?" Seemingly not knowing what was going on, Bao Yuyu asked concernedly. "Qi Shuwen, didn't you hear what I said?" "All right, big brother." Qi Shuwen hurriedly answered, then brought along the unwilling Bao Yuyu. Qi Shuwen also felt a terrifying aura. "If I don't leave now, I'm afraid that I won't be able to leave later on." However, Bao Pa didn't plan to leave right now. "I still have an ata on me, I can still help my father." Chapter 909. Why did you come back? Don't you know that I told you to leave? Bao Xi shouted in a low voice. "Do you think this is a game? That could cost someone's life." Bao Pa said in a deep voice, "Father, I have already opened an ata, there is still an hour left. With my sovereign strength I can also help you." Hearing his son's words, Bao Xi seemed to have just realized that his son had opened the Enata realm and also had the strength of a supreme martial artist. "Then go evacuate the people first." "Yes." Pai Liangjun was furious, but the roar from the magma calmed him down a little. "The two of you go home immediately," Pai Liangjun said in a deep voice. "Father." Scram. Pai Cheng and Pai Guanghui felt quite helpless. They wanted to help their father but they had no choice but to scram. After all, his strength was there and he still had to let his father take care of him. But what kind of monster was under the magma? While carrying doubts, Pai Cheng and Pai Guanghui left first. At this moment, Bao Pa was also evacuating the audience. However, some people were unwilling to leave. It seemed that there was going to be a good show to watch soon. It seemed like this excitement was not divided by region. People everywhere liked to watch a good show and they didn't mind it. But some people were destined to be tragic. Waves of frenzied roars reverberated through the entire sea. Once again, an even larger tsunami appeared on the Sea of Innocence. This was a disaster. Magma began to erupt like sparks. Even the barrier set up by the three old men was unable to withstand the erosion of the magma. It disappeared in an instant. When a drop of lava fell on someone's arm in the spectator stands, a maniacal scream suddenly rang out. This person began to turn into a skeleton at a speed visible to the naked eye. This magma was indeed terrifying. Moreover, the magma was like a dense Gatling gun falling into the surroundings. The crowd was screaming. If they were given another chance, they definitely wouldn't stay and watch the show. It was as if they were playing with their lives. The four honorable beings were also resisting the lava. After all, if it were to land on their bodies, they did not know what sort of damage it would cause. Meanwhile, at Qing Yutong's side, all of the imperial guards surrounding her were shot down. Only the 5 of them were fine. It was as if they had the protagonist's halo. The magma just didn't land on them. It was as if tens of thousands of arrows were shot at the same time, but they just couldn't hit their target. It didn't make sense. His luck was just that good. Yizizi closed her eyes and murmured, "This voice is really nice." "Yeah, it's the sound of nature." Kai Yun also closed his eyes in enjoyment. It was too comfortable. Brett pursed his lips. "What 2 little perverts? It's none of your business, old woman." Yizizi snorted. Brett couldn't be bothered to lower himself to Yizizi's level, so he stopped talking. Qing Yutong, on the other hand, was looking inside the magma. Just what kind of monster would appear? Hearing that roar, it should be a very powerful monster. This was no small matter and could not be underestimated. Alright, it was just a joke. There were 5 freaks standing here, so the ones he had to be careful of were the 4 supreme beings. A stream of magma spurted out like a fountain. It was dazzling and beautiful. However, this magma spewed out from the deep sea. On the vast sea of innocence, a terrifying wave of lava burst out of the sea and rushed into the clouds. However, when the magma was blown by the wind from high up in the sky, it was originally perfectly straight, but right now it started to bend. As for where it would be blown to, no one knew. However, it was hard to deny that if this magma were to fall down, it would be a terrifying disaster. "Old Mao, how's today's harvest?" A 70-year-old old man walked over while holding onto a fishing rod and a sieve. His face was brimming with a gentle smile. "Old Wang, that little grandson of yours has just been born. Are you willing to come out?" Old Mao was also a 70-year-old old man. Wearing a conical bamboo hat, he turned his head around and said with a smile. Old Wang sat beside old Zhang and said with a slight smile, "Fishing is more important for us brothers. It's fine as long as there is an old woman looking after us." "Look at your mouth that can't be closed. It must be comfortable to have a grandson." Old Wang said with a slight smile. "That's right, if that son of mine didn't fight for it, he would have stayed in this small fishing village for the rest of his life, waiting for that little grandson to bring honor to our old Wang family. Bring honor to our ancestors." Sigh. Old Mao let out a deep sigh. "That son of yours hasn't returned home for almost 20 years, right?" Sigh. "Sometimes I really feel that I don't have this son anymore. That son of yours is very busy, but fortunately with your son in Meridian Break Sect, our village is a bit better off." Old Mao laughed lightly. "In the past, I did feel that I had a lot of face, but after a long time, who would be able to endure it? Fishing, don't talk about such a depressing matter. All right, let us return with a full harvest today." The two hid at the seaside and chatted while fishing. There was even a small glass of wine placed at the side. "Old Mao, am I drunk? The horizon seems to be covered?" Old Wang rubbed his eyes and asked curiously. Old Wang rubbed his eyes and asked confusedly, "What is that?" However, at the horizon, a huge tsunami came attacking, and the terrifying pressure seemed to be able to tear everything apart. "Old Mao, what is this?" Old Zhang grabbed onto Old Mao's arm and asked in alarm. Old Mao was also stupefied by the thing in front of him. It's too tall, it seems to be able to cover the entire sky. The tsunami didn't come, but a strong gale immediately came, and the 2 elders were instantly blown away. Their bodies fiercely collided onto the big rock behind them, and the 2 of them spurted out blood. And in the fishing village that was a few hundred meters behind them, all of the houses were flipped over. There were thousands of people in the fishing village, and in an instant more than 10 people died. Panic spread in everyone's heart, because everyone saw that terrifying tsunami. Covering the blazing sun in the sky, everyone immediately knelt down and prayed, praying to the sea god for protection. Old Mao, Old Zhang, the 2 elders looked at the tsunami that was surging towards them, but they didn't have any way to stop it. Whoosh! The tsunami that reached the sky instantly overturned the entire fishing village, and everyone died at this moment. Even if it was a newborn child. It was simply cruel to the extreme. This fishing village was the village that was the closest to the tsunami, and there were more than 100 similar towns in the surroundings. The terrifying tsunami did not weaken in the slightest and continued attacking towards the mainland. However, at the back, an even more terrifying tsunami was following closely behind. When everyone looked at the tsunami that was swallowing everything, despair, deep despair. However, at the same time when everyone was in despair, a blazing flame appeared in the sky and slid past their heads. At the Meridian Break Sect's Outer Sex Law Enforcement Team, it was currently time to eat. Team Leader Mao, congratulations. I heard that you are going to the inner courtyard. A law enforcement team member held onto a wine cup and chuckled. Chapter 941. Translations. Looking at the current Yi Yan and Yi Lu, this was the relationship that siblings should have. Once again, it showed that Yi Hua's arrangement was correct. I wonder what sister is doing now in that ice lump, Yi Yan murmured. Yi Lu, who was at the side, became cold again. She only acted coquettishly to her own brother. Indeed, Yi Lu did not act coquettishly in front of God Yi. She only acted coquettishly in front of Yi Yan because Yi Yan was her brother. Sister must be bullying brother God Yi, Yi Lu said indifferently. Yi Lu said faintly as he pulled Yi Yan towards the cultivation room. He was already a little impatient. Yi Yan sighed. God Yi is so pitiful. Fortunately, Dad was smart and let me team up with you. Otherwise, I would have been killed by sister. Now you know that sister is good. You ignored me in the past. My good Lu, why did brother ignore you in the past? It was you who didn't play with brother and always hung out with God Yi. Yi Yan pouted. How could he say that he, as a brother, did not play with him? How heartless. Yi Lu smiled. Brother, I know I was wrong. I'll accompany brother more in the future. Yi Yan hugged his sister's shoulder. That's my good sister. Let's go. I'll let you practice. But I have to say, don't slap my face. I won't slap his face this time. I know you want to pick up girls. Yi, don't tell mom and dad. This is a little secret between us. I know. The siblings walked towards the training room under everyone's gaze. Then they both sighed. They mourned for the training room for a second. Because it was about to collapse. It would basically collapse once a month. These two were simply perverts. As the siblings walked into the training room, everyone had a panicked expression, especially those who were taught a lesson by Yi Lu. They immediately pretended not to see it. Yi Yan continued to walk without caring about anyone. Yi Lu returned to her normal expression. Acting coquettishly was not a normal expression. The two walked towards the dedicated training room. Yi Yan pushed open the heavy metal door. Shouts could be heard from inside. Another child of the same age was waving his fists. He looked very serious and his face was covered in sweat. It's him again, Yi Yan muttered. Amichim, Yi Lu replied calmly. The boy inside turned around to look at Yi Yan and Yi Lu. Of course he knew them. They were about to become the principal's final disciples. No one dared to provoke them. It could be said that they could do whatever they wanted in deity institution. But he refused to accept it. Why were they allowed to become the disciples of Jizun and not him? He slept later than them, got up earlier than them, and worked harder than them. In just a few breaths of time, 1/5 of the outer sect had been set ablaze, and the magma was still flowing. This panic quickly attracted the attention of the inner courtyard. The Do Zong teacher immediately flew to the scene of the incident. Hair hardening, what's going on? Where did this thing come from? A Do Zong teacher questioned. I don't know. It fell from the sky. Just as the two of them were talking, another person suddenly appeared beside them. Everyone was stunned for a moment, then immediately knelt down and shouted, Greetings, Sovereign. The person who came was the Broken Pulse sect's Sovereign, Lasting Hatred. Sovereign, the magma fell from the sky. The Do Zong teacher seemed to have something difficult to say. Lasting Hatred looked at the long line of magma and said in a deep voice, A disaster has fallen from the sky, causing a great change in time. Could it be related to that skeleton? Hair hardening said in a low voice. Lasting Hatred waved his hand and an unknown wind blew over. The falling magma gradually moved. Although it still landed in the outer sect, it slowly moved outside. But what was outside? It was filled with countless mountains. Even Lasting Hatred could not get rid of the magma and could only move it away. After all, the inner courtyard was filled with talented disciples. They had to make a choice. As the magma moved, it finally left the outer sect and began to pour onto the mountains outside. A terrifying fire descended in an instant, and the mountains turned into a sea of fire. Everyone's hearts trembled as they watched on. Lasting Hatred's hands immediately condensed a white glow. Following which, the white glow slowly rose into the sky. Soon, a dark cloud covered the sky and it began to pour. Hopefully it would be of some use. Lasting Hatred comforted himself in this way. Where did this magma come from? And it accurately fell into his own sect. Report. A Do Zong quickly flew over and bent down in front of Lasting Hatred. The southern coast was attacked by 2 tsunamis, suffering heavy losses. Tsunamis? Lasting Hatred was puzzled and his body instantly disappeared. standing at the side, hair hardened when he heard this. The parents of the coastal area quickly ran back home. In the deity institution, Dean Tai he was reading the results of the two little ancestors, and his face revealed a praising expression. Not bad, Yi Yin and Yi Lu are both not bad. They are extremely talented. I like them. Tai he laughed loudly. However, it seemed that the damn meridian-breaking sect also had two good ones. It was really troublesome. Report. A guard quickly ran into the study and knelt down on one knee. Tai he withdrew his smile, and his expression became respectful. Chem? Two tsunamis appeared in the southern coast, destroying many cities. Tai he frowned, and his body instantly disappeared from the study. Lasting hatred was already standing not far from the tsunamis, and his gaze became deep. Tai he also appeared beside him, also looking at the tsunamis not far away. What is this water city doing? Lasting hatred said in a low voice. There was still golden magma above his head. From this direction, it seemed to have appeared from Water City. Tai he said in a low voice, I'm afraid something happened to Water City. Water City has been peaceful for so long, why did something happen at this time? Are those three supremes useless? Lasting hatred said angrily. Now that he found out that the golden magma came from Water City, how could he not be angry? He originally thought that it was a natural omen, but it turned out to be man-made. It can't be that Water City is declaring war on us again. Tai he said in a low voice, and his body gradually revealed a huge aura. Under this aura, the surging tsunamis actually decreased, and then turned into seawater that flowed on the ground. Then accept their declaration of war. Lasting hatred shouted in anger, and a terrifying pressure directly flattened the second tsunami. Tai he said indifferently, I'll go back and make some preparations first. We have to talk to them properly about this matter. That's fine. After saying that, Tai he disappeared. And lasting hatred looked at the golden magma in the sky, and there was nothing he could do. However, at this moment the golden magma actually fell. Baidu search 881 Chinese network yen. No advertising words. Chapter 9:11. Long hatred immediately dispersed, and a long stream of magma fell onto the ground, instantly igniting the ground. Seeing such a scene, long hatred clenched his fists. This is going too far. Do you really think that you can do whatever you want just because you have three supremes? What a frog at the bottom of a well. At the same time, long hatred also disappeared from the sky. When he saw that half of his outer courtyard had disappeared, he really wanted to call for help right now and rush to Water City to demand an explanation. Do you really think that I, who live on land, am easy to bully? However, the rainwater had no effect on the magma at all. What was supposed to be burning was still burning. Water City, you guys did well this time. You've angered me. A debt of blood must be paid with blood. On the other side, Mao Hao also rushed back home at top speed. He didn't even hesitate to use a few jump scrolls, which were his trump cards for escaping. However, he couldn't care so much right now. Mao Hao, who was in the sky, saw that the land had turned into an ocean, and a large number of corpses appeared on the surface of the ocean. To ordinary people, this tsunami was simply a huge killing power. They had no way of resisting it at all. My home is right by the sea. Since this place has turned into an ocean, then Mao Hao didn't dare to stay any longer. He used the jump scrolls again and rushed back desperately. But Mao Hao couldn't find his home anymore. There was seawater everywhere, and there were corpses of humans and animals everywhere. Father. Mother. Mao Hao roared angrily. He regretted himself. He was so focused on training that he didn't go back to take a look. He only regretted it when something happened. Ah. Mao Hao roared and looked at the distant ocean. Sea of Innocence. Inside the deep sea arena, no one knew what had happened outside, nor did they know what the consequences of those few strikes just now were. Because they couldn't do anything about it, the thing in front of them was the biggest threat. A huge golden claw stretched out from the magma and stabbed into the sea rocks at the side. Father, what exactly is this abyssal wave? Baopa was a bit shocked. This monster. I'm afraid its strength is above supreme. Baopa didn't say anything, he just stared at what was about to appear. Kong Feiqing said faintly, the prehistoric divine beasts and ferocious beasts that we're familiar with are the strongest spiritual creatures. But above them, there's another terrifying existence. Inferno. Pai Liangjun said. Baopa was confused. He had never heard of the burning fiend before. This term was too foreign to everyone. Bao Ci said gravely, the term burning fiend represents a race. There are a lot of races within this race, countless of them. It's just that they are gradually disappearing from everyone's sight. And this abyssal ocean wave is also a race of burning fiend. It was imprisoned here by the old ancestor. Father, how powerful is Fen Sha? Baopa swallowed his saliva. It sounded very powerful. I don't know. Bao Ci shook his head. He was indeed here to deal with this scourge. Otherwise, the entire water city would suffer. However, it was said that as long as they defeated the Fen Sha, they would be able to subdue it. Therefore they had to face the danger and strive to subdue this monster. Of course, Yu Hua heard their conversation. She smiled and said, they even know about Fen Sha. They're not simple. Just who is their ancestor? He seems to know everything, said Brett with a faint smile. Doryman. Qing Yutong giggled. She was not worried about the monster that was about to appear in the slightest. I like Crayon Shinchan. Kai Yun pouted his mouth, then said, I have an elephant so big, so big. When this sentence was said, it caused the 4 women to laugh. So big, do you have an elephant? Just as the 5 women were chatting and laughing, an explosion sounded out from within the magma once again. Another sharp claw came out from within the magma. Looking carefully, there was even hair on the claw. Just that, this kind of hair seemed to be more like sharp blades that were flickering with ice-cold chilliness. Boom, 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 boom. Continuous sounds rang out. 8 legs, ruthlessly stabbing into the surrounding rocks. F***K, so disgusting, I suddenly don't feel like sucking it. Yi Zizi immediately pounced into Qing Yutong's embrace, expressing that she did not like this kind of animal. Kai Yun was the same as he pounced into Yu Hua's embrace. I'm going to vomit. Yu Hua helplessly caressed Kai Yun's back, then said faintly, if I didn't guess wrongly, this should be the Poisonwood race. Poisonwood race? Brett was also a newbie and he expressed his doubt. Yu Hua nodded her head. The Poisonwood race usually lives in the depths of the sea, and they are the strongest race in the sea. Their entire body is filled with poison, and they are able to adjust the secretion of the poison in their body according to the difference of the enemy. Their body is also incomparably hard, and even ancient artifacts are unable to harm them in the slightest. So powerful? I'm going to give it a try later then. Brett's fighting spirit appeared. The main reason was because what Yu Hua said was too powerful. Brett just wanted to try out how powerful the Poisonwood race was and loosen up a bit. Only this kind of opponent would be interesting. This Poisonwood race's battle prowess in the sea is very strong, but when it comes to land, its battle prowess would be reduced by half. Yu Hua added. Kai Yun pouted his mouth and said, furthermore, this Poisonwood race has been soaking in the hot spring for so long, I reckon that it has already become immune to fire attribute weapons. Look at that hair on its legs, it has already evolved. That is indeed the case. Yi Zizi took another peek at the Poisonwood race and she felt even more disgusted. Yi Zizi hurriedly squeezed her face into Qing Yutong's embrace and refused to come out. While they were chatting idly on one side, on the other side, the atmosphere had already reached the peak. The abyss wave is about to appear. Boom. A huge body emerged from the magma, and the golden magma flowed down slowly from its body. The body looked as if it had just soaked in a hot spring, and one could not feel the heat at all. This body is a bit strange, it looks like a maggot. The body looks soft and it is even squirming, but it is wrapped around by the golden magma. This feeling is just like the combination of a spider and a maggot, and the disgusting feeling is simply raised to another level. Furthermore, this plaything's body is still very big, and when some of the details are magnified, one's entire body would turn numb just by looking at it. Qing Yutong turned her head away. This is too disgusting. Brett and Yu Hua looked at the abyss wave with great interest. As expected of a perverted woman, they are actually able to look at this thing with a serious expression. Excitement can be seen on their faces. The 3 old men immediately called their mounts. No, it is a prehistoric divine beast. Prairie blazing war horse. Divine dragon. Terrifying giant crocodile. With 7 people that possess the strength of an overlord, is there even a need to be afraid of not being able to deal with a single abyss wave? Bao Ci did not think at all as he quickly formed seals with his hands. Heavenly sealing ghost chart, black coffin. For Bao Ci to be able to use the black coffin, he could be said to be rather skilled. Countless black shadows formed around the abyss wave's body, and in a single breath's time, the black coffin had completely enveloped the abyss wave. Chapter 9:12. The black coffin Bao Ci used was even purer, many times stronger than the one Baopa used. "Father, is this useful?" asked Bao Pa. "It doesn't work," Bao Xi said solemnly. Just as he finished speaking, Kong Feiqing, who was at the side, quickly formed a seal with his hands, and a terrifying force formed around him. Heavenly Sealing Ghost Manual, Graceful Swan. Following Kong Feiqing's angry roar, countless bright red lights appeared around the black coffin. These lights were like needles, but they were very thin and long. Every thin needle emitted a surging power that was shocking to the extreme. This Heavenly Sealing Ghost chart was truly a good item. With a flick of Kong Feiqing's finger, all the brilliant light was inserted into the black coffin. When Qing Yutong saw this scene, she suddenly said, "Have you all seen a magic trick, a black box with a knife inside?" "I've seen it before," Yi Zizi raised her hand and said. She looked quite cute. "I've seen it too," Kai Yun also raised his hand like Yi Zizi. They really were two primary school students. Yu Hua said lightly, "This kind of magic is still too light for Fensha." Kai Yun nodded. At the very least they had to use strange flames. At this time, Pai Liangjun temporarily put down his hatred and dealt with this abyssal wave first. Pai Liangjun stacked his hands together, his palms facing the huge black coffin. "Silence Hong sect." As soon as he said that, a golden door appeared in front of the abyssal waves. The entire door looked very complicated, and there were complicated seals on the door beam, giving off a terrifying pressure. Shocking world extermination. Boom. A huge red door appeared behind them, forming a sharp contrast with the golden door. The entire sea trembled slightly. The door of life. Boom. A massive white door appeared on the left, giving off a shocking aura. As soon as the three doors appeared, Zhao Fu could clearly feel the black coffin trembling. When Bao Pa saw this, his eyes shone with excitement. This was one of the most mysterious moves of the Heavenly Sealing Ghost Manual. One could only learn it after reaching the utmost exalted level. Even he had only heard of it but had never seen it before. He didn't expect Pai Liangjun to actually learn it. He wondered if his father knew how to do it. Star Gate. Boom. The silver doors descended once more. As the four doors descended, the water began to boil. The immense pressure made Bao Pa feel uncomfortable. Too strong. He was simply too strong. Although Bao Pa felt uncomfortable, his eyes were filled with excitement. He also wanted to learn this move. Heavenly Sealing Ghost Chart, 4 Gates of Purgatory. Pai Liangjun shouted in a low voice. The four doors quickly merged together, and a phantom appeared within the doors. A terrifying aura swept through the black coffin, and the dazzling red needles were instantly broken. Brett's eyes were deep as he said faintly, "The 4 gates of purgatory are really strong. Each gate emits a different attack method that makes up for each other's flaws. It seems like they don't have physical attacks, but only after experiencing them personally will you know how powerful they are." Looking at Brett's intentions, it seemed like he also wanted to test the might of the 4 gates of purgatory. Who would have thought that this skill would be so incredible? "I'm impressed with Water City now," Yu Hua said softly. She had felt bored at first, but after seeing so many Heavenly Sealing Ghost arts, her curiosity was piqued. But it was just curiosity. Right now, Bao Pa had also discovered Qing Yutong and her group. Just now he really didn't have the time to look at them, but he didn't expect that they would actually be standing there and not running away. They are really courting death. But I can't go over and say anything right now. After all, the matter in front of me is the most important thing. The attack of the 4 gates of purgatory seemed to have suppressed the abyssal wave, or at least it was unable to react. It is only a so-so, just wait to be turned into a pool of blood, Pai Liangjun said faintly. In his heart he could not bear to see this happen. After all, this big fellow is also a treasure. Kong Feiqing shouted in a low voice, "Don't let your guard down, this is burning spirit, how can it be so easy to destroy?" Just when Pai Liangjun wanted to refute, the black coffin below him started to shake violently, as if it was going to break free. The four of them shouted at the same time, "Heavenly Sealing Ghost Chart, Imprisonment." Numerous golden ropes wrapped around the black coffin. This fellow is so strong. Kong Feiqing could feel the might that was transmitted over by the ropes. This monster is very powerful. It seems like it is going to break free from the black coffin. Qing Yutong and the others just watched, they did not plan to make a move. Roar. A loud roar shook the black coffin. With a loud bang, the black coffin instantly turned into powder and disappeared into the sea. And the imprisonment on the black coffin dissipated at the same time. The four of them were evidently shocked by the recoil, and bloodstains were flowing out from the corners of their mouths. Although the recoil was not fatal, it was enough to make them exclaim in admiration. Just a single roar was able to make them suffer from the recoil. If it were to become serious, then it would be terrible. Abyss Wave once again appeared in everyone's line of sight. The eye below his forehead looked too scary, although it was only one eye. However, the area of the eyes occupied the entire face, so when they opened they looked very frightening. 4 of Abyss Wave's sharp claws pierced towards the 4 gates of purgatory. The 4 gates of purgatory were like a powerless little girl. They could only be pierced through. They did not even have the slightest chance to struggle. The 4 gates of purgatory were instantly destroyed. Meanwhile, Abyss Wave seemed to be a bit angry. One of his eyes stared fixedly at the 4 of them, seemingly wanting to exterminate them. "This eye is a bit similar to mine," Kaiyan said jokingly. Because his main body also had a pair of huge eyes, his eyes were a bit similar to this eye. "They are in trouble," Brian said lightly. "What happened just now was the best opportunity. If they are unable to get rid of this Abyss Wave would become their nightmare." Abyss Wave's body suddenly leaped high up into the air, then rapidly descended. "Disperse!" Bao Xi shouted out loudly. The 4 of them and their pets all dispersed. Boom! When Abyss Wave descended, the entire scene brought about a gigantic underwater tsunami. Everything in front of them was sand, making it impossible to see anything within a meter of them. Qing Yutong smiled. "This Abyss Wave sure is smart." Yu Hua smiled, then said lightly, "Burning spirits are all high-level life forms. They all have their own thoughts, and they use their brains to fight, unlike ancient divine beasts that don't need brains." Right now Bao Xi was a bit flustered. The aura of an overlord instantly spread out, seemingly wanting to use the pressure that erupted out from his body to blow away the surrounding sand. However, the more he boasted, the more Bao Xi felt helpless. Roar! Bao Xi's mount, the terrifying crocodile, suddenly let out a roar. This kind of roar was not one of excitement, but the kind of roar that was filled with pain. No! Although Bao Xi did not know what happened, he could feel that his mount was in imminent danger. However, the surrounding sand was too dense. It was definitely this Abyss Wave's doing. Does it have such a smart brain? End of this chapter. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.